where do taxi drivers go when they need to buy a taxi? Well, the Taxi Centre have supplied cars to the trade for over 20 years, and they stock a huge range of motors from the world's leading manufacturers: Skoda, Kia, Toyota, Mercedes, Nissan, Ford, Hyundai, you name it. They've got saloons, MPVs, estates, minibuses, prestige cars, the lot, all under one roof, ready for immediate collection or free delivery anywhere on the mainland UK. With taxi trade exclusive discounts, flexible finance options and no hidden fees. They even throw in registration and 12 months road tax. So if you're a taxi driver who needs a new or used taxi, where would you go? TheTaxiCentre.com. Trade only.
The Go Radio Football Show with TheTaxiCentre.com. Your exclusive taxi trade savings are waiting on you.
Let's go! Craig Moore looking remarkably like the former Rangers captain. Well, it's another Rangers captain. Craig Moore is with us this afternoon. Craig, thanks for joining us.
Thanks very much. I look a little bit different to Barry Ferguson, don't I?
You're both about the same age, or maybe you've got a couple of years in it. But after all the talk, it was Celtic Rangers the other night. They're both in action this afternoon at 4. Rangers against Hearts. So it's second against third, because top of the table Celtic are at Motherwell. Davy, you've got the Celtic team news. We're just, 25 minutes from kick-off?
Yeah, three changes. And, it's a good example of how Ange Postecoglou has turned the squad round, now in a position to rotate. He leaves out Jota, O'Reilly and Juranovic today. The full Celtic side: Hart, Tony Ralston comes in, Carter Vickers, Starfelt and Taylor, McGregor, Hatate and Abada, Tom Rogic back in, Maeda starts with Gio Kamakis through the middle.
Up against the Motherwell side who've been in really good form, especially at home. Craig Moore.
Yeah, Motherwell's home form actually is a fourth best in the league. They've only had 3 losses in 12 matches, Paul, so really good home form. Their starting 11 today is Kelly in goals, O'Donnell, Soholm, Mugabe, Carroll, McGinley, Goss, Donnelly, Cornelius, the one change that comes in, Slattery and Van Veen up top.
It's been a huge week. It's going to be a huge afternoon. We're on till 6. Rangers, Hearts at 4. And Davy, Celtic coming up shortly against Motherwell. Can you put today in context after Celtic's 3-goal victory the other night and a change at the top?
Well, it's just amazing, Paul. On the 1st of December, Rangers were 7 clear of Celtic. And that is some turnaround. An 8-point turnaround. And all the pressure is on Rangers this afternoon. If Rangers drop anything today at Ibrox ahead of the Celtic kick-off, the banner headlines, crisis headlines will be getting looked out in every newspaper office in the country.
Craig, you know Giovanni Van Bronckhorst better than most people. You played alongside him for a number of years.
Yep.
You had such success. What's going to happen at Rangers? I almost said that they're going to bounce back today. They're going to turn it around. Is it a turnaround that's needed?
They have to. I mean, after such a poor performance midweek, although Celtic, I have to say, were very, very good in that match, But Rangers, certainly the first half, massively underperformed. He needs a reaction, Paul. He needs to make sure that his team is ready to go from the very first minute today, because I certainly know what it's like, as does Giovanni. If Hearts manage to come to Ibrox and for the first 15, 20 minutes keep them scoreless, then it could be a really, really tough afternoon. So, Davey, they really have to start quick out of the traps and get off to the best possible start. But it's a big test because Hearts have got a lot to offer.
Yeah, and Hearts have, in the forward areas, I think Hearts have got the players to give Rangers back 4 real problems. They've got the option now with Ellis Sims coming in from Everton on loan, that he can go with a front 2 alongside Liam Boyce. He's got Mackay-Steven, he's got Barry Mackay.
Yep.
Really good forward players. And I think if I'm Robbie Nielsen, having watched that game the other night, I'd be saying to my team, right, we're not going to Ibrox to sit in and try and nick something, the old rope-a-dope trick. We're going there to win, have a real go at Rangers, because I think Rangers at the moment, don't think there's any question that they're vulnerable just now.
Yeah, no, very much so. And look, they'll even just look at the last game at Ibrox. I think they scored a late equaliser, didn't they? Was it Halkett? So, look, there'll be a lot of confidence from Hearts. They'll probably feel as if they're getting Rangers at the right time. You touched on it earlier on in terms of Glasgow. You're only ever 1 game away from a disaster. And look, Rangers really need to find a way to bounce back. But Hearts will be a big test from today.
3 changes for Celtic this afternoon. Celtic, as Davey said, lining up Hart. Ralston's back in, Carter Vickers, Starfelt and Taylor. McGregor, the captain, who was, it's amazing comeback with the injury the other night. Hatate, double goal hero. And Abada, who got the other goal and assist. Rogic back from international duty. Maeda and Giakoumakis on the bench. They've got Bain, Beaton back from suspension. McCarthy, Jota, Johnson, O'Reilly, Forrest, Welsh, Juranovic. Really, really strong bench, Davey, as well as the team. He's freshening it up.
Well, the difference earlier on in the season when Celtic lost at Livingston, we were saying during the game that Ange Postecoglou had nothing on his bench. He didn't have a game changer. Look at the strength of the squad now. I mean, the contrast couldn't be any more stark. Just a little bit disappointed that Julian is not on the bench. He's obviously got a problem. Been out for a long time, obviously, and very, very often during your rehab, you do pick up little muscle injuries. That appears to be what's happened. I don't think Celtic will be at full strength until they get Christopher Julian back in the team alongside Carter Vickers.
Been a long time, hasn't it, since we've seen him, and there's been nothing mentioned. So he's missed 2 games from the bench. He wasn't on midweek, as you well know.
Yeah, and I think he had a bounce game, didn't he, behind closed doors and all that. So, look, he's still obviously nursing his way back through his rehab side of things. Look, he's been out a long time, and, for me, it's very difficult. He'd be a great addition, Davey, in terms of coming back in, being fit and able to be selected. Carter Vickers and Starfelt, I think that relationship has grown, has become stronger over time. I think Starfelt has started to settle in now. Carter Vickers is probably more the leader there. So, look, yeah, it'll be a great addition, but I don't think in terms of the centre-half current pairing to see that change in the near future.
Celtic start the day on 57 points after 24 games. Rangers 1 point behind. Hearts on 43, Motherwell on 33. Hibs on 31, another poor result for them yesterday, losing. Dundee United on 30, Aberdeen on 29. Again, the Dons losing yesterday. Livy on 29 as well, alongside St Mirren. Good day for them. Ross County, great day for them, 26 points. And then St Johnstone on 19 and Dundee on 18. Both of them really finding it tough at the bottom of the table, David. There's a few things that we'll talk during the afternoon, but there's so much as we lead up to Rangers. Do you think Rangers will make changes for the game this afternoon? I think we're talking about Barisic, for example. Will he start today?
I'm not convinced he will. I mean, to get hooked at half time, that is the ultimate. That is the ultimate case of a manager. I mean, we're not talking about a kid here. We're talking about an experienced player who was making the type of mistakes that you see in boys' club football. And for Van Bronckhorst to take him off at half time, humiliation for me. I don't see how he can start today.
Yeah, no, look, for me, I think there'll most definitely be changes today. There needs to be, because the performance was nowhere near good enough. Sometimes it's easy to say, well, we'll give you another opportunity to put it right. There's 14 games left in the season. Every game there is a real meaning. Points are up for grabs, and Barisic was nowhere near good enough. Look, Tavernier, the captain, also the other side defensively was extremely poor. Throughout the night as well. I don't feel as if in the wider areas, Rangers were anywhere near aggressive enough as what they needed to be. Therefore, they were continually on the back foot. Abada had them pinned back. Jota had them pinned back. Celtic had an absolute field day. Also, I would expect Ramsey to come in. I would expect him to come in. I was a little bit surprised that he was actually left out of the squad the other night. It
doesn't matter now, does it? But everyone was astonished because you can have so many subs now. Why not put him down there instead of sitting up in the box next to, I noticed, Ross Wilson? I mean, is that even good for the other players that he's sitting there with the director of football? Why not have him on the bench?
Well, again, I think, look, he's not played a lot of games. We know that. That's been reported in terms of his time in Italy with Juventus. But I can guarantee you that he will be in good shape. And I'm speaking to Davey offline. Look, fitness is, you're always going to question his fitness because he hasn't played those games. I actually think he'll be better playing games now. That adrenaline, that initial, that rush and getting involved and playing games. Maybe 5 or 6 games he might hit a little low because of that fitness, that residual fitness that may not be there. But I think initially, starting point, he will be okay.
They're going to have to throw him in because the only way to get him match fit is through games. You don't get match fit through training.
No.
So I don't think Rangers have got a choice. There's 3 months left of the season. He's only here for 3 months. So if they want to get their money's worth, they've got to get him in the team right now and get him up to speed.
40 grand a week, which, if it all works out, will prove to be a brilliant move by Rangers to get a player of his class. But you're right, time is running out in 14 games. How did that happen? Suddenly, we're on the countdown. The finishing line is still quite a way away. There's a lot still to come. There's 2 derbies, isn't there? We know that. There's so much can happen. I think this afternoon is huge as well, because Motherwell will be tough to break down, Davy. That'll be one of the questions the afternoon. And for Hearts coming to town, they want to be the third force, Craig. Yeah, and John Souttar, is he going to play? Is he going to score? Is he going to, get one off the line? Whatever.
Story there,
Fascinating
story
this
there in the
afternoon.
making.
I mean, what your pals saying then, and Craig, you've got so many friends at Rangers. They'll be hurting, obviously. What do you think the feeling is today going into this game?
Look, it's about going out and being able to bounce back from a really, really tough night. And you have to bounce back. Being at a big club like Rangers, you can't have 2-3 bad results in a row. Look, they've come back after the winter break. It's been poor. It's 5 points from 12. Let's be honest, that's nowhere near good enough. That's not title-winning form. They have to react today. It doesn't have to be an unbelievable performance. It needs to be 3 points.
The manager is saying it's togetherness. That's what he needs.
It's still a group who's together. The results aren't there. I mean, we lost the second game in 60 games, this team. So, they proved they can be bounced back from disappointment. And that's what we have to do on Sunday. Quick break and then we're back. We'll hear from Ange Postecoglou. We're 20 minutes away from kick-off. Motherwell against Celtic.
The Go Radio Football Show with thetaxicentre.com. Don't miss out on huge savings on your new taxi. Available exclusively to the taxi trade.
Let's go! Go Radio Football Show with the Taxi Centre here on Go until 6 this afternoon during the break, as well as listening to the great ads. We're also talking about the training. What's it like behind the scenes? Are there differences now under the contrast between Ange Postecoglou and GVB?
I was asking Craig in the break, Ange Postecoglou, Celtic are obviously very fit. They can play this high press. And Craig is saying that his training sessions, they're not on the training pitch for 2 hours, they're on for an hour. But that hour is high intensity. And I was just mentioning that Paul Lambert went out to Bayern Munich when Pep Guardiola was there to watch the training. And Paul said to me, I've never seen intensity like it. It's a short session, but it's full speed ahead for the whole session.
Yeah, and then it's exactly what it's like. So see when you see Celtic play now, in terms of their ability to repeat efforts, that high level, that high energy. If you don't train like that, it's impossible to replicate come match day. Clearly they are. I mean, I know the way that Ange trains anyway. So you're right, Dave. An hour and a quarter, and it's high tempo. He expects nothing but 100% full effort. And you rest when the session's done. It's like when he says about Tommy Rogic and all that, when people are asking about, he says he'll get his rest at the end of the year when the season's finished.
Yeah.
He's a hard taskmaster, yeah.
But proven.
Yep.
Were you surprised Maeda was on the bench, having made that flight back from Japan?
Well, not really. I mean, like I said, the game's changed a lot, David. But I remember flying back and playing games.
Well, that's why I'm asking you. You've obviously done that quite a few times.
Look, I wasn't surprised. I mean, obviously, and again, the way that players are looking after themselves now, the way that they travel. So I wasn't surprised. But again, you need the right player with the right character and mentality to come on and not just come on and going through the motions. He come on and continued to work and play the game plan that Ange wanted.
And Davey, what about his teammate Rio Hatate on telly just now? The game's coming up on Sky. It's doubleheader on Sky, doubleheader here on Go Radio Football Show with the Taxi Centre. And look at the industry of that. That player.
I mean, obviously they're showing his 2 goals, but they're also showing, the work ethic that he brings to the team when Celtic don't have the ball. And I think that's something that, in common with his compatriots, all of the Japanese boys seem to have this wonderful work ethic when they don't have the ball. Maeda comes on, and Celtic had dropped off by that time. He's up on his own, but he's pressing the Rangers back 4 on his own. The work ethic is something to behold.
We used to work with a guy, Jerry McNee, who used to say football management, it's like a closed shop and they don't know as much. I'm paraphrasing probably, Jerry, but my point is, why did nobody think of Japanese players? Okay, Nakamura was here and was amazing, but it's taken Ange Postecoglou to realise this.
Yeah.
The world is small place.
They'll all be looking now. Yeah. Even clubs, I think, down south will be thinking, Celtic have tapped into a rich seam here.
Let's have a look commercially as well.
Yeah,
well,
huge.
Sure. Yeah.
Huge, yeah.
Leila Bada was also on there, and I see that Crystal Palace reported to be interested, and also in Joe Aribo as well. You could see the effects, I think, for Joe Aribo just coming back from AFCON. But it's going to be fascinating what happens. Huge day today. Motherwell against Celtic coming up shortly. Here's the manager speaking ahead of the game. We spoke with him yesterday. He was asked a number of things, but what about the challenge of Motherwell?
Sunday will be a tough game. We all know. Away from home, Motherwell are a good side. They've got ambitions to stay in the top half of the table, so I'm sure they're going to test us out. But that's what we've been doing from day one. So again, I haven't sensed, or I didn't feel I would sense that I needed to come in and sort of address some sort of major shift in attitude around the place, because what we did the other night is what we've been doing for quite a while now, is overcoming whatever challenge is put before us.
Dave, you're looking at the Motherwell team. They're on 33 points. Celtic at the top on 57 points. Motherwell haven't won their last 4 games, lost 2, drawn 2. But overall, it's been a good season for them. Who will Celtic be looking at and worrying about? Van
Veen is the one. He started really well. His form has shaded, but in the absence of Tony Watt, they need him to step up. Motherwell are remarkable, given they don't have a lot of money. They're probably one of the smallest budgets in the league, I'm guessing. And yet, they're overshadowing Hibs, they're overshadowing Aberdeen. It's pretty remarkable. It's not an easy job, the Motherwell job. And Graham Alexander, who was being hounded at one point by the Motherwell fans, they wanted him out, has turned the corner and proved everyone wrong.
And Chairman Jim McMahon, goes under the radar. It's a community club, Craig, as you know. It is remarkable, isn't it? You came past the ground just an hour ago.
Yeah, and it was already, so you could still, the crowd, okay, you can still, the coaches and the security and the police and all those kind of things that pre-game are starting to put in place. So it's game on as I was driving in. But
it's a terrible pitch, isn't it? The slope.
The slope, yes, but now the actual surface is probably one of the best in the country. So no excuses in terms of the actual surface. But you're right, David. That slope, it was a horrible.
But it slopes sideways. It doesn't. It's not like the old Easter Road or Dens Park.
I got out jumped a few times at the back post because of that slope. Let me tell you.
Craig, as a former great defender, what are the Motherwell team thinking beforehand? Because you've seen it everywhere. The highlights have been on. Everyone's talking about Celtic's performance. It was an outstanding performance by the team the other night against Rangers. So how do they approach it then again? Are they going to make it really, really tough? They've got to get tight on Celtic. But can you, with the pace they have?
You can, Paul, and you can definitely do that at the start of the match. Look, Fir Park is quite a tight pitch, right? So that you can make it nice and compact, and you need that energy. You must be able to compete, and that will be Motherwell's best opportunity in terms of getting a footing into the match. Because Ange touched on it. Celtic, they're not doing anything different. Their energy, their desire, the way that they want to bomb forward has been there from day one. Motherwell need to try and I guess prevent that, which has been competitive, which has been nice and tight. Set pieces could be very, very important for Motherwell today.
I should say Liverpool won up on Cardiff in the Cup. Jota, the scorer. But it's been tough though, hasn't it, for the Premiership teams or the Premier League teams? Yeah, I know. Yeah.
What's a say? I mean, their season's imploding at Man United just now. Ranić was a strange one, right enough, wasn't it? I mean,
it's strange.
Caretaker manager at a club that size. They don't learn. I mean, they gave Solskjaer the job after 7. He had a great start, didn't he? Yeah. He turned the Champions League tie round by winning at PSG. They jumped in too early there. Maybe they're reluctant to do the same again, but I think you need a permanent manager at a club that size to manage big personalities. When you know this guy isn't there for the long term, I don't think you've got to get the likes of Pogba and all these, Ronaldo, the big egos. Are they really going to do it for a guy they know is not going to be there?
No, long term. I'm scratching my head in terms of, you're right, Man United is such a global football club, huge football club, and for them to have been on the wrong path for such a long time is really alarming. Their supporters, they must be absolutely pulling their hair out and really angry with what's happening at that football club. You need certainty, Davey. You're spot on in terms of moving forward as a football club. Somebody needs to get in there and a broom needs to be swept through that dressing room because there's a few players that just don't deserve to be there. They're not delivering the standards that are required at such a football club.
Well, we went from Fir Park there to Old Trafford, and I love the fascinating conversation. Craig Moore, Davy Provan, Paul Cooney. Sunday afternoon, the sound of Go Radio Football Show with the Taxi Centre. Last time Motherwell beat Celtic was back in 2015. Stuart, our producer, is reminding us here. this afternoon. Rangers up against Hearts later. How many changes will they have? We'll bring you that news first. Just see on Sky there, James Tavernier. He also, I mean, I think because Borna Barisic had such a tough night that he almost got away with it, didn't he? Well, no defender did when it's 3-0 at half time. So more about that later on. And also Motherwell against Celtic coming up. And for Celtic, Tom Roderick back. Davey, you'd normally say he's been missed, but my goodness, O'Reilly has done so well.
When you look at what Ange Postecoglou has managed to get from Tom Rogic, you wonder why he wasn't one of the first names in the team sheet for Neil Lennon. He was a bit part player. At one point, I think he was going to go and play in the Middle East. He had an offer to go there.
18 months ago.
Yeah. And, thank heavens for Celtic that he stayed.
You know what happened, I think, Davey? And I actually think that Rangers are probably experiencing a little of that, the same this season. So last season, the wheels fell off Celtic come January, right? But there was 3 or 4 players that didn't want to be at the football club. Edward, Christie, Aya,
and Cham.
And then all of a sudden, then maybe Tommy Rogic is starting to think, well, is this where I want to be and all that sort of stuff? I think there was a lot of that going on last season. I've always said I've never doubted that Tommy Rogic can play 90 minutes and that he's a star. We're seeing that this season. But I actually think that Rangers are going through something similar this season.
I said that in midweek, Craig. I said that in midweek. That Neil Lennon, after Celtic lost to Ferencváros, were knocked out of the Champions League, said, we've got too many players here who are working their ticket, who've got their eyes elsewhere. And I think you're right. I think Rangers have the same problem. The likes of Arfield, Stephen Davis, Alan McGregor might be away. Goldson's been distracted all season. Morelos, Aribo and Kent, arguably the 3 best players at the club, all going into the final year of their contract.
Yep.
I don't think it's a dressing room that's completely stable right now, and you really need that.
Yep, I totally agree.
You do indeed. Just looking at the Celtic lineup, so 3 changes from midweek, and he's just really freshened it up, I would say. What about Giakoumakis? What do you make of him, Craig, and how he's been doing?
I actually feel as if he's getting the real benefit of the minutes. He's looking sharper with every match. Look, he's different, obviously, type to Kyogo. He's not necessarily going to threaten in behind as much, but he certainly looks lively enough in the box. For someone that's maybe not the tallest player, you see him outleap Bassi there, that one where he attacks it, where McGregor makes a double save. You can see that he's a goal scorer, but as a player, the more minutes you get, the stronger you feel, more confidence. So he's another great option.
What does Postecoglou do when Kyogo's fit again? Can he accommodate Giakoumakis and Kyogo? And by that, I mean he would put Kyogo out wide, which he's done.
Yeah.
Or does Kyogo come in and Giakoumakis is back on the bench? What would you predict?
Yeah, no, I think Kyogo comes in and Giakoumakis is back on the bench.
Yeah, I think so.
Yep.
I think so.
For sure. Quick break and then we're back. Kick-off is next.
The Go Radio Football Show with the Taxi Centre. Visit their showroom in Darnley, Glasgow to test drive your new taxi.
Let's go!
Teams are coming out at Fir Park. Motherwell against Celtic, 1:30 kick-off, 4 o'clock this afternoon. Doesn't get much better than this. Rangers against Hearts. And you can spend it in the company of the former Rangers. I'm not going through all your clubs this afternoon. I never get every one of them. Craig Moore is with us, the Aussie international, and the former Celtic.
I'm just looking at the teams coming out, and they're coming out opposite ends of the stadium. What is that about now? Because, the first set piece, they'll be grappling with each other.
Yeah.
They're all over each other. Yeah. What is this about now?
Well, we better check with Jason Leach if we can get him off Radio Scotland and see what's happening. I'm not sure. No, Davey, I don't know. That's just nonsense now. Let's get back to it. Get in there, get on, get your jabs, and thankfully
You're
things
back to normal.
back to normal.
Yeah.
Because conditions, I'm not saying they're there, but we saw at some of the clubs who, especially down in the divisions, could hardly get a shower and had to go back home. Now, surely we're back to normal. Right, for the football itself, prediction time for this afternoon. Craig, what do you reckon? Motherwell Celtic?
I think that Celtic will just continue as they have done and be quite comfortable in this match. I think the first 15 will be tight, but I'm going for 3-1 to Celtic.
3-1 Celtic, Craig Moore reckons. Davy Provan?
Yeah, Celtic. I don't think Celtic could be in a better place right now. The boost you get, not just from winning an Old Firm game, but the manner in which Celtic blew Rangers away, they couldn't be in better nick. I think Celtic by 2 or 3 here.
Can they maintain the levels? The manager thinks they can improve.
I don't see why not. I mean, you kind of go through the season sort of trying to continually create new benchmarks for ourselves and try and create new levels for ourselves. That's the constant message, a constant theme. We've never sort of set out a clear goal in our mind of, the kind of team we want to be. We leave that sort of hanging to see where it takes us. And, when you set down a marker, as we did against a good opponent, it shows you, well, you can play at that level. And that's what we should be seeking, moving forward and also improving on that.
The players take the knee there at Fir Park. John Beaton in charge this afternoon, Craig. Is that
hopefully we don't have to talk too much about the officiating of the match. The best team over the 90 minutes comes out. Because they have taken a little bit this season, haven't they? Some kind of pretty ordinary decisions throughout the season, but I guess we get that. Next season is going to be different with VAR by all accounts.
If it comes in, surely it will. And Davey, there wasn't too much for the ref the other night to worry about, given that it was an Old Firm game. We're just watching as Celtic kick off because they started at such a pace against Rangers. Can you do that away
big
from
difference,
home?
and we've only gone half a minute here, Paul, but already you can see Motherwell putting a real hard press on here. Celtic the other night were allowed to, the centre backs were allowed to bring the ball up to the halfway line, take their time, pick a pass. Motherwell going up against Celtic here much higher up the pitch than Rangers were the other evening.
And you saw our colleague Barry Ferguson, honestly, within the first 3 minutes, he was like, what's happening here? They're giving them so much space. This is before the first goal, which was, as you know, in 4 minutes, 20 seconds. As Liverpool go 2 up, and it's Minamino who has scored as Celtic come forward their first attack, but it's easily cleared there. A minute and a second gone, but it's Celtic coming forward. Again, 3 players around him as it comes into the box. A great chance for Celtic. What a good save there by Kelly. And Davy Provident, a great chance in the first 90 seconds.
Good cutback. Celtic get an overload, I think they call it nowadays, on the right hand side cutback, and it's Leila Bada first time with his left foot. And Kelly has made a really good save, I think, with his left foot there. The goalkeeper managed to get enough to get it away. Real energetic start here from Celtic.
Craig, you're seeing the replay there. Leila Bada must be brimming with confidence.
Yeah, look, again, a young lad, but he just shows maturity beyond his years, doesn't he? The amount of goals that he's got, the positions he gets into. I think it was Ralston that gets overload there, but again, Davey, he gets himself free in that box, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Takes up a good position, gets a shot. As you can see here, he tests the goalkeeper. Goalkeeper makes a decent enough save, but very positive play early doors. Yes, Motherwell are having a go and being a little bit in terms of trying to press, but still seeing what Celtic can do going forward.
It's a real bonus when you're getting. It looks as if Abada. Listen, I think he's already in double figures for the season. If you're getting that off one of your wide players, Craig, it takes a hell of a lot of pressure off your strikers. Normally, you're looking for your strikers to score most of the goals, but if you're getting goals, from your wide players and your midfield players, as Postecoglou is, it's all shaping up really good, I think, for Celtic.
It's Motherwell in possession, playing it back to the goalkeeper. So we'll keep you right up to date. You'll miss nothing. Davey and Craig are looking at nothing else apart from the screen. The screen here tells me that Liverpool have gone 3 up Harvey Elliott. So Liverpool on their way to stay in the FA Cup up against Cardiff City this afternoon. Yesterday afternoon, Hibs 0, St Mirren 1. Just some of the scorelines from the Premiership. What about that, Davey? You worried? Well, first of all, for St Mirren,
great result.
Yeah, it's terrific, isn't it?
Great
for
result.
Saints. Yeah, and chasing a top 6 spot, which they were last year.
Yeah, it's absolutely brilliant for Jim Goodwin. I wonder about him. You look at the 3 biggest clubs in Scotland out with the Old Firm, Hibs, Hearts, and Aberdeen. Hearts are the only club punching their weight. I think already. I mean, Dave Cormack, I think, is getting very close to having to hold his hands up. Admit Stephen Glass was his own vanity project. Admit he was wrong to sack Derek McInnes, who for 7 consecutive years kept Aberdeen in the top 4, got them into Europe every year. And we're very close, I think, to the point where Dave Cormack has to hold his hand up and admit he was wrong.
Greg?
Yeah, I mean, look, they're a big club, aren't they, Aberdeen? And they've been nowhere near it this season currently. Certainly the next couple of games for Stephen Glass, I think, are massive. And if they're not the right results, I would not be surprised.
Celtic in midweek as well, Craig. So
Celtic and them, it might even be his Motherwell in the cup or something like that. Yeah, but they're 2 extremely tough matches, and if he's not able to get points in those, they could wield the axe.
2 huge games. Aberdeen Celtic midweek. It's Wednesday night, and Rangers Hibs.
Yeah.
They don't come much bigger than the games that we have. Motherwell 0, Celtic 0. Davey, the first 4 minutes, how does that compare with? Because this is exactly the time Celtic scored the other night against Rangers.
Yeah, it's the usual energetic start from Celtic, but Motherwell, in contrast to Rangers, Motherwell are trying to meet Celtic as high up the pitch as they can. They're not going to allow Carter Vickers and Starfelt time to to amble up to the halfway line and pick a pass. They're going to try and be in Celtic's face.
That was the thing the other night there, David. How many times did Rangers force Starfelt or Carter Vickers to go long? Never. Yeah. Flip side of that was the amount of pressure from the front that Celtic put on Rangers and force them to knock things long, and then all of a sudden, Roof's up top, can't do anything with it. So it's working off the ball. And here, look, you can still see that Celtic in the first 4 or 5 minutes that have got the quality. But Motherwell have at least made it competitive.
They're up against them. They're not standing off Celtic. They're right up against them. And even the other night, you're talking about the time the two centre-backs had. Rangers weren't even putting pressure on Callum McGregor. Callum McGregor's gone back, taking the ball off the centre-backs, getting time to turn, get his head up and pick a pass. It was unbelievable.
I mean, some Rangers fans were saying, Craig, and you can understand it. Second half, though, I think that we were really good in the second half. But Barry and Davey were like, "Oh, forget that." If you get an early goal in the second half,
Yeah, for me, the second half was irrelevant. The game was well and truly done and dusted in that first 45 minutes. And you can come on and say, Ryan Jack, come on, and there was an improvement. But they were that poor in the first half. For Celtic, to be fair, you can't just say Rangers were poor. Celtic were very, very good. But the second half, the game's been and gone.
But Celtic played the way Celtic now play. So how could Rangers get it so wrong?
That for me is the biggest concern in terms of, that kind of felt when I was watching it is did Rangers actually analyse Celtic? Because they didn't do anything different to what we've seen all season. A derby, and we know how big this derby is. And Rangers didn't compete. That, for me, it was the real alarming thing to come out of the match.
It was kind of inexplicable, wasn't it? It was bizarre, David.
I was surprised that the GVB, I think he said after 25 minutes, we took control. I mean, this Giovanni is a very clever boy, usually picks his words carefully, but I don't know who he's trying to kid on, but they're saying Rangers took control after 25 minutes. And also talking about earlier in the season, nobody was complaining when we were winning, when we won our first 8 games. Well, I'm sorry, that's gone. The only thing that matters in Glasgow is the next one.
Yeah, Alec, he'll be really disappointed because you could see in his post-match comments and all that, he was absolutely shell-shocked. He had no idea that they were going to perform in such a poor way in that match. You could see that he was really annoyed by it. So it's up to the players to respond, but a tough test for Giovanni.
Do you think Joe Hart will be busier this afternoon than he was the other night against Rangers, which almost seems unimaginable to say? But he
did
almost nothing.
Did he have to make a save? One.
Ryan Kent, long range shot.
Yeah, it was quite comfortable.
Ryan Jack hit the bar. I don't think he was getting to that, was he? But apart from that, he wasn't really tested.
Nah, he come out once early doors, was it, in the first half where Rangers had one sighting, a heavy pass, and he come out. But you're right, he wasn't really tested, Paul.
Here are the most dangerous positions for Celtic as far as I'm concerned. I've banged on about it for weeks. They knocked the ball about the back four, and Davey, it doesn't work. They've almost given away there.
It's my pal Carl Starfelt there who's on the ball, and he's
look at Chikamaka shouting at him quite right.
Yeah, not happy at all. But it's a poor square passes generally get you in trouble. And that was a good example over there. Starfelt trying to find Joe Hart. He's a little bit light, and it gave Van Veen the chance to go and close the Celtic keeper down. It
just shows you, Craig. I know we're going on about the other night, but Rangers didn't press them.
No, they did not press at all. So therefore, you can't force any errors. Motherwell at least, this early stage are having a go. Whether or not they're good enough over the 90 minutes, but you can see them. We do get sometimes a little bit frustrated, I guess, when you're watching. Hibs have done it quite a bit now, conceded quite a few goals, building up from the back, and you end up picking it out of the back of the net.
Happened yesterday. Jack Doyle Hayes trying to be, sometimes just knock it long. No, there's no shame in knocking the ball long if there's nothing on.
Well, it's much better doing that than picking it. Ronan has a great strike, but you lose the game 1-0.
Sure. Yep. Out of nothing, a mistake. Conor Ronan was there, and it was 1-0 for St Mirren. So Saints on looking at the table on 29 points, same as Livy and Aberdeen. Livy have been one of the teams of the second part of the season, Davy. It's just remarkable the way they're turning things around.
Early in the season, it looked a straight choice between Ross County and Livingston who was going down. And to be fair to David Martindale, with very few resources, and Malky Mackay in a similar movie in Dingwall. They've dragged these two clubs right up the table. What a job they've done.
Boy, Bruce Anderson's done well for Livingston as well. I know he doesn't get the goal, but for the first one, Oberlai then gets this outrageous flick. Fair play to Oberlai, who's scored a few goals. I know a couple have been from the spot. But Bruce Anderson he's in the box. He's really lively. Scored some important goals for the club.
A club that really need goals, Aberdeen, they didn't fancy him. They let him go. They had the chance to get him back last summer, but they said no. Celtic come forward, first real chance of the game, and it's Leila Bada. But he could have crossed it, Davy, but it's straight into the arms of Liam Kelly.
Yeah, he's got to find a better ball. I mean, he's really good pass to get him in behind Motherwell's left back here. He's got to try and square that a little bit more. The angle that he plays in, and I think I'm not sure who's sliding in there, but he's made contact with the left hand post, and I think it's Giacomakis who's down. He's back on his feet now, but he took a sore one there against the post.
That was almost a Christopher Julian, because that's what happened with him, wasn't it, over a year ago against the post. Really nasty, but he's back up. Craig, you saw Celtic though, the speed of them there, and Labada.
He probably, I mean, the overload that they're getting in the wider areas, they are causing some concerns for Motherwell. They've had a couple of balls that have been fizzed across. At the moment, Kelly's dealt with them, so they've not hit the right area. Davey, as you touched on, Abada maybe could have taken an extra touch, and therefore maybe tried to pick someone out there. But another opportunity for Celtic.
Craig, I think you can give Davey stick. Look at that pitch; it's magnificent. February the 6th.
Can't see the slope.
You can't see the slope.
But trust us, there is one there, Davey. There's one there.
I hated playing at Fir Park. I hated that slope.
All right, what happened? Did you have a bad game or something? Come on.
Yeah, there are grounds where you don't perform well, and Fir Park was the one for me. Don't remember having a decent game
really.
Tight pitch though for a wide player. Tight pitch.
Great to watch Rangers or any team there. I used to enjoy going to the games there. Craig, any memorable occasions? Occasions for you?
Unmemorable. Do you remember Doogie Arnott?
Yeah, of course, the wee striker.
And Doogie Arnott. When I was a young lad learning the game and all that sort of stuff, and I switched off. I think somebody got a flick on, and he was away, and I've kind of had the tug of the jersey. Last man, red card. Yeah. Doogie Arnott was just too clever at that stage of his career, and I was just learning.
What a job Doogie Arnott did for Motherwell, didn't he? And they got him out of the juniors.
Yeah, that's right. Late in his career, would that be right?
Yeah, I don't know whether it was Baylisson or one of the junior clubs they got him from. And he reminded me a little bit of Scott McDonald, a real handful.
He never give you a minute.
No.
He chased down everything. He put you under pressure. He was a really good player. I'm trying to think of the boy that used to play for Republic Island that played up front with him. I think he maybe was at Celtic as well at some stage. Striker.
Tommy Coyne.
Was it Tommy Coyne?
Could have been, but ex-Celtic striker. As Celtic come forward, Tom Rogic, edge of the box, looks up, Davy. Chance here.
Should have hit it. Greg Taylor should have put his foot through that. It's a nice weighted pass to him. He wouldn't have had to break his stride. Celtic just trying to be a little bit too elaborate here at the moment. It's given Motherwell a chance to get everyone behind the ball, so not a lot of space here for Celtic to work in.
Ball's played in for Abada, but it goes out of play. It's going to be no, it's a corner.
It was a good ball, though. I think it was Ralston comes in on his left foot, plays a ball in behind. It's Rogic, actually. It's a great ball. Goalkeeper, is he going to come? Is he not going to come? Doesn't want to give a penalty away. In the end corner to Celtic.
Lovely pass from Rogic. That disguised reverse pass, which he's so good at.
I'm just thinking, who'd be a referee trying to spot who actually was last one to touch it, but it's a corner kick for Celtic, but it's headed away. Motherwell 0, Celtic 0. 13 minutes gone here in the Cinch Premiership match, coming from the heart of Lanarkshire. There's a bit of snow there this morning, wasn't there, Craig? You and I both in Lanarkshire.
Yeah, there was.
It didn't come to anything, don't think.
No, it's too wet, isn't it? So it kind of goes away. But driving in, you see in the mountains, there's a lot of snow about.
Weather forecast as well here on the programme. Any chance we talk about the football? Obalai's touch was phenomenal. I'd written it down as a Bruce Anderson goal, but of course you see the replay.
You see it.
What a touch by
Forrest also had a good finish in that game.
Yeah.
Nice cheeky finish. Keeper comes out and he just lifts it over him. It was a really good finish.
He had a chance to go to St Johnstone during the window, but maybe a good to stay, Davy, at Livy. Livy on the up. No?
Yeah, I think at the end of the season,
sure.
I think he'll be away. I remember Andy Gorham, when Andy Gorham was the goalkeeping coach down at Ayr. And I was doing something with Andy, and Andy Gorham says, "We've got a boy here that's going to go places." Who? He says, Alan Forrest, James Forrest's brother. He says, remember the name. He's a proper player, and he's doing really well and getting better every season.
I've no doubt, Davey, that's what I meant. Stay for another few months, and then 14 games to go, and he could go bigger. No harm to St Johnstone, but they're under pressure.
They're under pressure.
Although Dundee You worry about James McPake, and it's beginning to see Charlie Adams starting on the bench at the moment again. Yesterday, Craig, what do you
Wasn't
think?
great, yeah, and they got off to the best start, didn't they?
Yeah.
They got their goal, and I think that they had a great chance to go 2-0 up.
Jack Rudden, great debut for him. As Celtic come forward again, Leila Bada, it's another corner kick. But Rudden, what a start for him, getting the goal. But then Ross County, it was Hungbo, and then Charles Cook.
Yeah. And he's done well, hasn't he?
He has.
I mean, to be fair, both their wide players in the attacking areas, actually, Ross County, they've got a decent spread of goals.
They have indeed. Davy, corner kick for Celtic. 15
Yeah, it was
minutes.
a Bada. They managed to get a Bada free on the right hand side, to get him a run at the defender. Tried to get down the outside. I mean, he's quick enough to get down the outside, but Motherwell managed to stop the ball coming in, and just as well, because had he got it across the face, both Giacomakis and Maeda, who becomes a second striker when the ball's on the right hand side, we're both looking for the opportunity.
Davy, we're pausing because the ball hasn't come out, whereas at Celtic Park they've got the ball. They're everywhere at the moment because Ange Postecoglou wants to, he doesn't want any seconds wasted.
And that's education for the ball boys.
Mm-hmm. The ball boy who's so you featured the other night. Davy, corner kick is going to be a short one.
Yeah, I don't know why. Take it short. They managed to get a bit of space here. It's just overcooked. The cross into the box is just a little bit heavy. It takes both Maeda and Giacomakis out of the game. A rare slack ball there from Callum McGregor, who'd gone out to help Abada at the corner. They worked it really well. Callum McGregor just hanging it up for the back post, but a little bit too heavy with it.
He could have gone probably last summer. I mean, I don't remember a lot the clubs mentioning, but I do know when he was playing with Scotland, I heard some of the commentators down south. They were talking about Ryan Christie, who'd played well. Obviously they know Andy Robertson, they know Kieran Tierney, and they said, Callum McGregor, what a player. They hadn't been aware of him. He stayed with the club when it was a shambles last summer.
I think Brendan Rodgers was desperate to get, not desperate, but very keen on Callum McGregor, and I'm told that it was Dermot Desmond who said to Brendan Rodgers, no, we'd already lost Kieran Tierney by that time. He said, forget about Callum McGregor, you're not getting him. And Celtic have lost Stuart Armstrong, they lost Ryan Christie. They kept for me, the man, Callum McGregor.
Good keep. It was definitely a good keep because, now as captain this season, I think his game's actually gone to a new level. It really has.
Even better than we thought he would be. Anyone would have thought. Davy, you agree?
Well, I think there was a lot of nonsense talked about. When Billy Gilmour broke into the Scotland team, there was a lot of talk about, Billy Gilmour should be in ahead of Callum McGregor. Absolute nonsense. You're talking about a full Scotland international, loads of Champions League experience. Brendan Rodgers very keen to get him down to England, and some people wanted him out the Scotland team.
Disrespectful, Craig, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, I mean, again, I think Billy Gilmour did come in and he done well in the England match. He's come in and done well in certain matches. But in terms of McGregor's been a mainstay in that middle of the park. You look at him and you look at McGinn. They're definitely got to be in there for you. And then you got that other position where, who might that be? Before it was McTominay, but McTominay has kind of been moved about recently, hasn't he?
Yep.
Did I tell you Cardiff have scored? They've pulled one back. It's Cowhill who scored. It's Liverpool 3, Cardiff 1. Vincent Tan will be delighted if he's out there in the South China Sea with Jim White. Remember White who interviewed him? He thought he was interviewing him in Malaysia, and they said, no, the helicopter's going to take you out into the... it was like some Bond, and he interviewed him out on the yacht. Nice to see you, Mr. Mr. White. Great picture on social media the other day, Jim and Kirsty Gallagher having lunch. Yeah, it was good to see. They were a good double act on Sky Sports. Did a great ad for us for the Kilt Walk a few years ago. It was fantastic. As Motherwell come forward, Craig, edge of the box, Van Veen trying to get the touch, and he does.
Oh, if they get a better ball out there, they could have had a better opportunity for Carroll to cross it. But Van Veen making himself a little bit of a handful there in terms of a focal point.
Yep.
Ball gets into his feet. His link-up play is not too bad. Like I said, I mean,
corner kick.
Yeah, corner kick from Motherwell. And these are the type of moments where they'll be looking to try and test Celtic the most, set pieces. Yeah,
I'm just looking at Van Veen at the moment. He's taking up a position right in front of Joe Hart. So you can expect an in-swinging corner here.
Mugabe in there as well. They've got a bit of height, Motherwell.
Yeah, they do. They do. Stephen O'Donnell, really good in the air as well. He's gone forward. Take it short. It's an outswinger. And it's a waste, I'm afraid. Breaks through Maeda, who manages to win the throne for Celtic deep in the Celtic half. The mark of this Celtic team, isn't it? That you could be the striker, but you're back helping, Davy. Yeah, I'm more talking about the work ethic. And Maeda, who was just off a long flight, you would never have known it when it came on Wednesday night.
We should say that corner kick was at the Davy Provan end. That's the end, isn't it? Where you could see the difference across the pitch at the height. I remember when they changed the stand in the early 90s, you suddenly realised that the billboards...
That's right.
That's when I hadn't obviously played on it, but I realised the difference.
It's about 6 foot difference from one side to the other. You used to see the brick wall. At one end, you see one brick, and the other is a full wall the other side.
You could measure up on the way home tonight. That's Craig Moore, Davy Provan, Paul Cooney on the Go Radio Football Show with the Taxi Centre. Quick break in just a second or two, just watching Stuart when the ball goes out of play, but it's pretty relentless. As you would imagine. If you're Motherwell, you're probably quite pleased to go 20 minutes at 0-0 as Maeda breaks down the left, but McGinley does well, plays it back to goalkeeper Kelly. Kelly's a decent keeper, Craig, isn't he? More than decent.
Yeah, well, he's been in the national team setup, hasn't he? He's done a very good job. He makes big saves. Probably had a spell where he had a couple of games where his form dipped a little bit, but bounced back. He's very solid goalkeeper indeed. Davy, Celtic, the final ball, not quite.
Yeah, I think it's Tom Rogic just trying to play an early pass with the outside of his left foot. He's in the inside right channel. But as usual, he sees the movement of Giacomakis and Maeda and just I think it's Maeda he's trying to pick out front post, and he's just put a little bit too much weight on the pass. But again, it's one thing about Rogic, he sees every bit of movement in front of him. But if you're playing in front of Tom Rogic, you know with some certainty that if you make a run, he's going to spot it and he'll find you.
Craig, what's the weather watch? The manager's got the hood up, hasn't he? As Celtic, Starfelt there plays it back to his goalkeeper Joe Hart, plays it out to Greg Taylor.
Sleet? Is it sleet?
It's
get away with
sleet,
that?
for sure.
Yeah, get away with that. I don't know whether windy or not, because there was an earlier cross where Callum McGregor didn't look as if he got a lot on, and it kind of kicked on. The outswinging corner there didn't go the distance, so maybe a little bit windy there as well.
21 minutes
Weather
gone.
report.
Yep, thank you for that. Still 0-0.
Where do taxi drivers go when they need to buy a taxi? Well, the Taxi Centre have supplied cars to the trade for over 20 years, and they stock a huge range of motors from the world's leading manufacturers: Skoda, Kia, Toyota, Mercedes, Nissan, Ford, Hyundai, you name it. They've got saloons, MPVs, estates, minibuses, prestige cars, the lot, all under one roof, ready for immediate collection or free delivery anywhere on the mainland UK, with taxi trade exclusive discounts, flexible finance options and no hidden fees. They even throw in registration and 12 months road tax. So if you're a taxi driver who needs a new or used taxi, where would you go? TheTaxiCentre.com. Trade only.
The Go Radio Football Show with the Taxi Centre. Save on your new taxi with exclusive discounts across Skoda, Toyota, Ford, Seat and more.
Let's go! Thanks very much for keeping us right up to date. We went a bit early with that before too, because we knew nothing would change, and it hasn't. Motherwell 0, Celtic 0. 26 minutes gone. Davy Provan?
Yeah, Motherwell doing pretty well here. You know, in contrast to the way Celtic had the game won after 25 minutes in midweek, finding us a bit harder, and much of that I think down to the way Motherwell have set up. Motherwell right in Celtic's face, contesting everything, and Celtic finding it hard to create chances here.
The roads will be getting busier heading towards Ibrox, because in 2 hours' time it's going to be Rangers up against Hearts, and Craig, Celtic coming down the right. Ball into the box for Giacomakis. Chance for the
another good
striker.
save.
Good save.
Another good save. I think it was Rogic that gets it outside, gets the ball into the box. It comes into Giacomakis, who gets a good shot off, and Kelly again saves with his feet.
Liverpool have won 3-1 against Cardiff. I should have asked you your predictions for the FA
Liverpool
Cup.
have
Going to
Liverpool.
Liverpool. Yeah. Their name is in the Cup, because it's not going to be in the league, is it? It's
Both
going to
teams to score.
It's going to be Man City for the Cup, for the league.
Yeah.
I know you were going Man United.
Well, no, but that was the wrong call, clearly. Man City will be well too strong, aren't they?
Think so. Davey, for you?
Well, I tipped Man City. I hate to remind you, I did tip Man City, and I've got to say I thought it was wrong when Chelsea and Liverpool started so strongly. But you know, what is it they say? Form's temporary, class is permanent, and City have got so much class about them, haven't they?
Sure do. For the Cup, Craig, who do you reckon is going to win? God, Chelsea were run close yesterday, weren't they? But they're the European champions, the Cup specialists.
Yeah, Cup's always different. You know, you kind of. Chelsea potentially have gone through. They snuck through, didn't they? Was it 2-1 yesterday after extra time? West Ham obviously after extra time as well. West Ham could be a cup. They could be a cup team.
You said a bit like West Ham.
West Ham, right, geezer.
Could be great for Davy Moyes, wouldn't it? He's come close, and I think he's loving it at West Ham. What a performance this season. They would also love to be in the Champions League. More importantly, who's going to be in the Champions League in Scotland? Is it going to be the league leaders Celtic or the defending champions Rangers? It's Celtic just now, a point ahead of Rangers. Ball into the box, must be goal number 1, and it is. Celtic go ahead after 28 minutes, and it's that man again, Leal Abada.
Talking about the goals he chips in with, he's absolutely priceless. Comes off the right hand side, timed his run perfectly. I think Motherwell thought he might have been offside, but I think he's timed the run perfectly. Ball coming in from the left, and one touch was always going to be enough. Celtic build the game down the left hand side. Taylor with a lovely ball to Hatate, and he's picked him out beautifully on the far side. You can see the run of Abada, and Abada's made that out to in run, and a delightful finish with his left foot.
Great ball in by Hatate again. He again, like his second goal, he runs off the Motherwell's midfielder, not tracked, but he puts in a wonderful ball. Abada, he is a winger, but he gets himself in the box as a goal scorer there, and a great finish, and puts Celtic 1-0 up.
Who needs Kyogo and Rogic together? I'm just, it's
That's his 14th goal of the season. 14 off, for a white player.
And by the way, but a lot of people, even at the start of the season, were he started off very well.
Yeah,
Abada,
and then he shaded.
Then he shaded a little bit, and people saying, "Oh no, he needs a rest, or he's not a great player."
I was one of them, Craig. I've got to hold my hands up. I was one who thought he needs a rest, but
he takes up good positions. He's got good energy. His goal scoring record is incredible
he
for
can
a wide
finish
player.
really well. Yeah, he can finish.
No, he's done extremely well, and very, very young, only 20 years of age.
28 minutes gone. That's when the goal went in. Leal Abada, lovely cross there from Rio Hatate. And was Abada his 14th goal of the season. Remarkable.
Very good. Yeah. Very good. You will have strikers at other clubs, Paul. They'll be desperate to get to 14 goals, He's a winger.
When you look at the league goals in the Premiership, Reagan, Charles Cook with 11 goals.
Yep.
Christian Ramirez on 9. Tony Watt on 9. I don't think he's scored, has he, since he went to Dundee United? They were all scored at Motherwell. Alfredo Morelos back for Rangers this afternoon, surely on 8 Leal Abada was there, so he's now on 9 in the league. Bruce Anderson on 8. Liam Boyce on 8. And Kyogo Furuhashi, who's been out now for 2 or 3 weeks. Martin Boyle on 7. Do we count his goal yesterday in Saudi Arabia? I see he scored. Good start for him.
And was that the winning goal? I know they ended up winning, but
they won 3-0. He got the third one though, but it's great.
Great start for him.
Secured it. And Kevin Van Veen of Motherwell on 7 goals. So half an hour gone. Motherwell 0, Celtic 1, and Davy Celtic piling on the pressure again down the right.
Yeah. Motherwell, I've got their work cut out here. 15 minutes left in this first half, and I think Graham Alexander, given the momentum Celtic have, and now they've made the breakthrough. There's no sign of Celtic taking their foot off the gas here. I think they're going to try and do what they did the other night and try and get the job done by half time.
And they've just done it. Goal number 2, the Australian international Tom Rogic. He's back in, strikes from well outside the box. It's 2-0 Celtic.
Well, it gets out, as Craig's talking about, he plays on the right hand side so he can shift it out his left hand side, open the pitch up, open the target for himself. Don't know whether it took a deflection, maybe doing him a disservice, but either way it finishes in the top corner.
Is that Abada who played it to him, Craig? He got the assist. What about the strike? Did it take a...
No, it doesn't take a deflection. The goalkeeper ends up getting a glove on it, but it's too good. Tommy just he just shifts it, as Davey said. He plays on that right hand side so he can come inside on his left, opens up the goal. We've seen him do it before. Great goal, puts them 2-0 up, and Motherwell now really, really struggling.
Yeah. Chance for Celtic to get the job done by half time here now, and that would give Ange Postecoglou, the choice of resting a few legs if he wants to. And if you look at the Celtic bench compared to what it was earlier in the season, there's no comparison. They're in really good nick now.
Even plenty there, isn't there? To come off the bench, there's plenty there to come on and keep at it, because the thing that with Celtic now, it's like 2-0, go on and first and foremost win the game, but you can go on and make another big statement, can't you?
Craig, you're a Rangers man. Obviously, you had such success there. Do you get a bit of pride, though, when you see your Australian flag going up there?
I love to see Tommy Rogic do well, because I know what a great player he is. I mean, at the end of the day, anybody that's listening, Paul, know who I played for as a club. But at the same time, Tommy and Ange are doing a great job, and they're inspiring a lot of people back home in Australia as well, who got up early to watch the derby as well. It's got a lot of interest back in Australia, as you know, Davey, because you were there.
Yeah, what was it, 5 a.m. it kicked off
Silly o'clock,
in Australia? Well, it'll be different in Perth, right enough, because there's a 4-hour time difference, isn't it?
Wow, it's huge continent, isn't it? That's his 4th league goal of the season, Tom Rogic. So Leila Bada in 28 minutes, Tommy Rogic in 31 minutes. Celtic leading 2-0. We see there this. I mean, he doesn't get enough credit, does he, Stephen O'Donnell? I know they're 2 down at the moment, Davey. But when you mentioned earlier on the job he's done for Scotland has been, I think, phenomenal.
I thought he'd have got a move.
Bigger one.
On the back of his Scotland performances, I thought he'd have got himself a move to certainly a championship club in England. And I'm surprised that he's still up for Park. Here comes Celtic again. Abada, early ball in again. Motherwell managed to close down the front post, get it behind for a corner. But, you know, if Motherwell losing another one now, it's lights out, I'm afraid.
It is. I think when that move could have come was in the teeth of COVID, wasn't it? It was the summer of 2020.
Yeah.
And when it was real shut down everywhere and nobody knew what was going to happen. But he's a chance, Craig, then with another corner for Celtic. It comes into the box.
It's dangerous now. Yeah. Well, every time they go forward now, they're playing with that confidence. Look, Motherwell competed really well early doors. Just a slight lapse in concentration from Donnelly on a couple of occasions. Hatati running off him for the first goal, puts in a great ball, and maybe not close enough to try and block shot from Tommy Rogic, and all of a sudden you find yourself 2-0 down.
This could be a long hours football, couldn't it, for Motherwell? As Celtic come forward again, Giakoumakis, he's tackled there. Mugabe does well now, just chips it, tries to get out of danger for Motherwell, but Giakoumakis sticks in there. He claims there's an arm thrown. I don't think there was much in it. I mean, I think he has been struck, but we'll see the replay, Davey. Who'd be the referee?
I think he's definitely been struck. I don't think it's malicious, but he was caught by a high arm there from Mugabe. John Beaton just having a word. He's taking a few dunts this afternoon, Giakoumakis. Just looking at it here now, trying to, well, not an awful lot in that.
You normally see as well by the reaction of other players. Mm-hmm. You know, if there was something there and the players felt as if, you know, that was a little bit naughty, they tend to run in and get around the players and all that. There wasn't anything there. Yes, he kind of has his arm up, but there's nothing too much in that for me.
Oscar season coming up, of course. So Ross tells me, who also tunes in a lot from LA. But Celtic are 2 up after 35 minutes. Rangers just an hour 55. Countdown's on, Craig, your old team.
Yeah, well, and again, they will be monitoring this result. There's no doubt about that. Yep. Obviously, they'll probably stop watching now because this looks as if it's going to be a job done. But look, I mean, at the end of the day, Celtic are focused on trying to get 3 points here today, and Rangers have got to try and focus on doing exactly the same later on against Hearts.
And a great chance for Rangers, you know, at home against Hearts. As Celtic come forward, Leila Bada, good 1-2 there with Rogic. Celtic claiming a handball there, Davey.
Yeah, it's offside. Offside given him against Giakoumakis, who's made the run. A lovely run again off the outside from Abada, who is at the top of his game now. I mean, he's obviously, like most wide players, he's a confidence player, and his confidence must be sky high right now.
Giakoumakis only a yard offside there, Craig. There was
but again, he's trying to be positive. He's trying to make that run in behind. He's keeping at it. He's been involved in the physical battle that's been there. He'd be desperate to get his goal.
Yeah.
Davey, your old team, Kilmarnock lost 1-0 the other night at Arbroath. Now, there's no shame in that and the way the other results went, though, it wasn't a bad thing for Killie, but, you know, good day for Arbroath because the others have been cancelling themselves out. I'll give you the full scores in a moment or two.
I think we've all been waiting on Arbroath collapsing, Paul. Yep. There's no sign of it, you know, and we're getting down to the wire now. Inverness, bad result for them, losing to Morton.
Yep.
I think it's now straight race now between Kilmarnock and Arbroath. And Arbroath 4 points ahead. They've played Killie twice. I think they've still to play Kilmarnock one more time.
Yep.
But it's a game that Kilmarnock would simply have to win because there's no margin for error now. And I'll tell you what, either way, Dick Campbell for me is the manager of the year.
As Celtic come forward again, it's Rogic, edge of the box, plays it out for Greg Taylor, just not enough on it. But I think that's a good shout. I don't think many would disagree with you, apart from maybe...
Ange Postecoglou obviously is
sure.
going to win it. He will win it if Celtic win the title.
Of course.
But it's miracle stuff at Arbroath.
Yeah, you're talking about something
stuff.
A little bit like left field, you know, like in terms of part-time club. If they can go on and win the championship, that would be
Did you ever play
unbelievable.
Did you ever play
I did,
yeah,
I did.
Are you still the scars mentally?
I actually think I scored there. It was a couple of about a 12-yard header. played with the wind because always
Wind
windy.
assisted off the North Sea.
Of course.
Yeah.
I was doing the commentary there, I remember it. No, seriously, it was Ian Crocker and I, and they made us wear harnesses.
How did he score that?
They made us wear harnesses
That's a pity.
in case we got blown into the North Sea. I think shot at other lads that scored that night as well.
Yeah.
I don't remember your goal.
I didn't score many, don't worry.
Killie next player Broth on the 23rd of April. Could be some game. Yeah, David, you absolutely rightly say. Arbroath 44 points, Killie on 40. Inverness, Cally Thistle disappointed yesterday. They're on 38 points, along with Wraith Rovers, who drew. Partick Thistle on 36. And then, they're the chasing pack after that. You come to Hamilton, 26, Morton on 24, Dunfermline 23, along with Ayr, and Queen of the South, the Doonhamers at the bottom on 19. Celtic coming forward again, playing it through. It's for Leal Abada, but it goes all the way back to goalkeeper Liam Kelly. Celtic won. The first goal came in 28 minutes. It was Leal Abada. The second goal, Tom Rogic, in 31 minutes. Rangers coming up against Hearts in the not too distant. Been a quick first half, Craig Moore, would you agree?
Yeah. No, like I said, I mean, it was very competitive early doors. You could see that Celtic had that quality, were hurting Motherwell in the wider areas, but just couldn't get that breakthrough. Eventually it came, and when the first goal came, the second one came quickly. And that's really stopped Motherwell in their tracks, hasn't it?
And the ball played through there. It has indeed. Yep. A tough hour or so to go for Motherwell, but they tried to play the ball out of defence. Down the divisions, Craig, Barry Ferguson, he
Got a
needed
good
that
result.
win. Good.
Yeah,
At Peterhead, 1-0.
That's right.
Ewan Henderson.
It was a big result. Ewan Henderson, I think, after 14 minutes. It was
Good to get him back from loan from Hearts, because they've missed him, haven't they?
And again, playing well but not getting results, you need to get those results, and Barry would be extremely happy with that one. Their form has not been unbelievable, so really big 3 points.
There's the lesser spotted Joe Hart making a save there, Davy. That's because he's had virtually nothing to do so far.
He's not a save to make. Much as it was the other night there, where he was under no pressure at all. Similar situation here. Abada having his jersey pulled there. Abada really at the top of his game, and I did have my doubts about him. I thought, I know he's a young man. My first impressions were he should try and get his head up a little bit more, but you can't argue with the goal return. The goals return. He can skin fullbacks. He can go either way. He can come in and link up. And at that age, he's got a long career, not just in club football, but for Israel as well.
What I liked about him, Davey, is he can do that traditional wing play, but he then kind of goes in as a striker when it's on the opposite side and gets in that goal scoring position. And I think 6 or 7 of his goals have been by getting into that back post area. Even his goal against Rangers, it's getting into that area to score goals. A lot of wingers stay wide. Yeah. He doesn't.
And you've also got Maeda, who was the top scorer in the J-League last season, playing on the other side. So there are goals everywhere.
Here he comes forward again, plays it out to the right to the Australian wizard, Tom Rogic, who plays it back into Abada, the Israeli international.
They're toiling with Motherwell now at the moment.
Yeah.
They've got good, easy possession. They're playing whatever pass they like. They're at the edge of the box there. You can see Motherwell trying to get bodies in, working so hard. But Celtic well and truly on top.
Toying with them, they are indeed. We'll probably see him again in international duty because we play Israel so many times, Davey. It seems to come up. Of course, the Ukraine in our minds, 6 weeks away or so, 7 weeks. In fact, no, less than that. Scotland against Ukraine. Will we be going to Qatar in 2020? The boogie bus heading over there, Davey? You're coming from Spain.
Oh, we're on,
you?
absolutely.
You're definitely there, aren't you? Yeah. Craig as well?
Well, it'll be an interesting one because Australia are struggling to qualify now.
Yep.
Find themselves in third position. So can I hedge my bets? And if it's not the Australian bus, can I jump on your bus?
Absolutely.
Brilliant.
Adopted Scott as Motherwell come forward, play the ball into the box. It's headed away by Carl Starfelt, but Motherwell still pressing Celtic just before half time. 3.5 minutes to go. Anthony Ralston knocks it out of play. Davey, it's going to be a throw in to Motherwell.
Yeah, I just wonder, long term, Anthony Ralston, is he just going to be in the team now and again? Does Juranovic come in for the big games? If you're Anthony Ralston, you'd be hugely disappointed that you weren't in the team the other night for a game of that magnitude and that he sat on the bench. Obviously, Ange Postecoglou sees Juranovic as his first choice right back, and I've got to say I would agree with him. I don't think Juranovic is the same player when he plays left.
That's what I was about to ask you. Do you disagree, Davey? But you don't. And Ralston's done brilliantly for Celtic. But,
he has, because he was farmed out on loan to different clubs. It looked as if he had no future at Celtic. So the boy's done brilliantly to get himself back in the frame. But I think Juranovic demonstrated the other night that he is a class act.
Greg, there's Maeda down the left, and it must be goal number 3 for Celtic.
Be offside now.
It's going to be offside, of course.
It should have been number 3.
Yep.
Maeda gets in down the left-hand side, puts a ball on into the middle. Doesn't have enough pace on it, and therefore Kelly does come out and gets a save, and Abada's in an offside position and ends up scoring. But as we can see here, see if there was more pace on that ball.
Yep.
Yeah.
Abada offside, Tom Rogic. It didn't go in anyway. Then Abada.
I think if Abada leaves it, Tom Rogic has got a tap in there.
That's right. If you don't,
if he
there's
just
no
left
interfering.
it. Yeah.
Yep. So if this was Radio Motherwell, you'd be saying though, Craig, the positive is as we head towards half time, it's still 2-0.
2-0, yeah.
Something could. You never know at 2-0.
Get in at 2-0 and seen many a game change at 2-0. All of a sudden, you go and get that goal and it's a different game, As a manager, you're saying, well, we know that Celtic are quick out of the traps, but we also know there's periods in the second half where maybe that it drops off a little bit. So trying to hang in the game. It's
the voice of Glasgow in the West. It's the Go Radio football show. Davy Provan, Craig Moore, along with Paul Cooney, keeping you right up to date. Celtic are leading by 2-0. A great business programme this morning with Hunter and Hockey, and a big Man City fan was on, and it was Jeff Ellis, the CEO of DF Concerts. We spoke about it on Friday night with the last concert they were at. We were asking Davey and Barry. It was the same concert, not together, but it was Coldplay. Was the last time they were. Nice. What was your last gig?
Men at Work.
Oh, thanks.
Very good. Down under.
I've never seen Men at Work. There you go.
No,
my last concert was probably like Pink or something like that. How long ago was that? But what a concert!
Sure.
Great entertainer.
At the SEC, wasn't it?
Yeah, great entertainer.
Remember we did a promotion with her as Mother will come forward, Davey, into the box, but it's into the side netting. It's going to be a goal kick, a minute remaining. There won't be that much time added on, Davey. I don't think there's been.
No, I don't think so. No, I can't remember a real lengthy stoppage here at all. I think John Beaton will be blowing that half time whistle very shortly, and it'll be a bit of respite for Motherwell, who've tried in the early part of the game to compete with Celtic, go toe to toe, but Celtic at the moment just absolutely relentless.
Craig's on the bell today, so I think it's Chateaubriand at half time, whatever that is. One of my favourite fish.
Nice.
No, Craig's in, very generous this afternoon. As Celtic come forward just before half time, down the right, Lil Abada whips it in for Tom Rogic. Must be goal number 3, and it is. Celtic on the 45-minute mark make it 3-0 at Motherwell.
Same two players again. It was a really good ball. A real test of Abada's pace. The ball knocked in behind Motherwell's left back position again. Abada was quick enough to get there. He's pulled the ball back beautifully for Tom Rogic, who didn't really have to break his stride and could take a touch before basically passing the ball into the top left-hand corner. And you've got to say, on what we've seen so far, game over already.
Yeah, in the end, look, you see that right at the end here, David, 2 Motherwell players on the deck. Ball flies into the top corner. They would have been desperate to try and get to the half-time at 2-0, but 3-0. Rogic again. Great finish. Getting early ball in by Abada, another assist. So very comfortable. Can Celtic go on with the job now in terms of 3-0 is great? Again, they had that performance during the week. Yeah. But can you go and get 5, 6, 7?
And that's half time. 2 opposition players down in the box. Is Neil McCann shouting for the goal not to stand? It was one of the controversies. I saw it today, Davey. That was, listen, freedom of speech, anyone's entitled to. But
it was only a few seconds. And if Bobby Madden had stopped the game, there would have been uproar because Hatate's about to have a shot on target. So for the sake of a few seconds, I think Bobby Madden did the right thing.
And you didn't get much complaint from GVB either.
No,
after you still, the whole of the Rangers team were back for that corner kick. Celtic still had the overload of Hatate at the edge of the box. It wasn't a bad head knock, so I don't have any concerns with it.
Neil was a terrific player and very good commentator. But on that one, and listen, everyone's entitled to, but I thought that one was kind of clutching at straws a little bit to say.
Yeah, what would I say, but with an opinion?
Of course.
That's never right or wrong. It's just an opinion. It's yours. So people are entitled to that, of course.
Right. We don't want to all be vanilla. Me, and that's enough just with me being the vanilla. You guys bring the controversy and the great insight to it. So that's it, halftime, quick break. Remember, we'll hear more from GVB ahead of the Rangers game, Rangers against Hearts, because Celtic are 3-up against Motherwell at halftime.
The Go Radio Football Show with the TaxiCentre.com. Your exclusive taxi trade savings are waiting on you.
Let's go!
There'll be many people heading to Ibrox this afternoon for the game. Rangers start the day second top of the table. Celtic will stay there, surely, as 3 up against Motherwell. Yesterday as well, we'll give you some of the highlights from that and any developing news as we look forward to the games in midweek as well. It's a huge night on Wednesday. Aberdeen against Celtic at Pittodrie, Rangers at Ibrox against Hibs. There's also Dundee United against Motherwell, Hearts against Dundee, and Ross County against Livingston, St Mirren against St Johnstone, the two Saints with. It's the Paisley Saints that are on top so far this season. Craig, you had a question just before half time. Celtic, would they go and really make a huge statement this afternoon? They're 3 up at the moment.
It looks like it, doesn't it? I mean, they started. They started very positive the way that we've seen Celtic play all season. It took them a while to get that goal, but once Abada scores with the first and the second and third fairly quickly coming from Rogic, really big test for Motherwell. But yeah, I mean, Celtic will be looking to make a statement, Paul. If they can go and replicate that the second half, all of a sudden you've had a derby win that people are talking about how comfortable it was, how easy it was, and then you're backing it up with a 6 or 7-0. That'd be a bit of a statement.
Graham Alexander's got the choice now. Does he try and save the game or does he go for damage limitation? The danger here is that they take a right hiding.
Because Celtic won't stop in terms of the way they play. Dave, you've touched on the bench that they've got and how deep the squad is now. There'll be players that, if it's 5 minutes, if it's 10 minutes, they want to come on and make a difference as well.
For Celtic, look at the strong bench. Bain, of course, in goals. Beaton, who was doing well. He got sent off the other week and he missed midweek. McCarthy, Jota, Johnson, O'Reilly, who's done brilliantly since arriving. Forrest, Welsh and Juranovic. As we see the goals, the Leo Labada goal in 28 minutes, David.
A great ball from Hatate, who took a lovely first touch to get it out his left side, and he's got his head up. He's watched Abada coming off the wide area. Nobody tracking the run off the wide area. Motherwell pretty poor at the back post there.
See, but the thing, sorry, Paul, Hatate doesn't even need to think in terms of the area that he wants to hit it. And again, that's stuff that's worked on in the training ground. You know, he knows just to hit an area. Abada's going to be in an area. Goal.
So much happens in the training ground. You were saying earlier, Davey, about the high intensity of Bayern Munich, for example, which Guardiola had spoken with Paul Lambert about.
But if you're Postecoglou, I mean, normally you're relying on your strikers to get you goals. But if you look at the two players who are playing wide for Celtic here, Maeda, top scorer in the J-League last season, and Abada, who's got 14 already. So goals coming from everywhere, including from Tom Rogic as well, from midfield. So Celtic have so many options now.
Craig, earlier in the season, you said he's got a wand of a left foot. You're just witnessing it there on Sky.
Yeah, it's not bad. I mean, for such a tall player, he's got fantastic feet. He loves to go by players. He's got that killer pass. But as we can see there, his range of finishing is very good. Great left peg. And
when we said it was going to be 2-0 at half-time, then up popped your fellow countryman to make it goal number 3.
Yeah, and this is not normally, but you see Tommy's normally the one that may be playing the pass, but he wants to get in the box. He wants to get his goal. And you know, he really deserved it. I think it was Donnelly trying to get back who ended up tripping up in the end. But again, he picks a top corner, that's all.
Maeda's been quieter, hasn't he, Davey? But
yeah, he has. Yep. He has. I mean, most of Celtic's play has come down the right-hand side through Abada and Ralston. Maeda less involved, but always trying to get himself into the back post. When Abada is on the ball, it's not just Giacomakis that he's got in the central area. Maeda is becoming a second striker when the ball's on the right-hand side.
So sometimes Ange Postecoglou doesn't make that many changes. He did the other night against Rangers. They were 3 up and he rotated. What do you think the second half, Craig? Do you think he might make a change or two at half-time?
Maybe not necessarily at half-time, but again, the way that he plays and the energy that's required, he'll definitely make substitutions. You know, players will get their run. Maybe you see Forrest and Johnston come on and maybe he just rests Jota today. But yeah, I mean, he's got options, hasn't he? It's a good bench. Juranovic, who was a standout the other night as well, can come on.
A great position, Craig, ahead of the trip to Aberdeen. It's a great position to be in. The game more or less won here.
Yeah,
he can give 1 or 2 a rest if he wants.
The thing is as well, but when you listen to Ange, when you talk about giving players a rest, he doesn't buy into that at all, does he? He's like, yeah, they can have that at the end of the season. So he's just a big believer in terms of the way that he's training this group, that they're able to do exactly what he's asking of them. They can take their rest later.
Yeah. Hard taskmaster.
Sure is, isn't he? We talked about it on Friday night with Barry and Davey. Is it time for Celtic to say, I mean, whatever they're paying him, pay him more. It's a 1-year rolling contract. That might suit him. Maybe that's what he wants as well. I mean, most people listening would say if I got a year's money, if it's all over, that's good.
Yeah.
For me, maybe more about how much he's getting paid. I don't know what he's getting paid.
So I have
But
no
do you think
idea what his
Celtic
contract
should
is.
be? What would you say just now? It would be a good PR trick as well to say, and also we've signed the manager on a longer term and on increased wages.
Yeah, I mean, again, I don't know his personal situation in terms of what that contract looks like. I mean, I think it's pretty clear that he's made a significant improvement to the football club and to the playing roster. So, if you're a decision maker at Celtic, you want to try and keep him at the club much longer and securely keep him there.
And in the unlikely event that he did get an offer he couldn't refuse from England, you want to get top dollar in terms of compensation. Rangers got $4.5 million,
right,
was it,
yeah.
for Steven Gerrard?
Yeah.
So Celtic would want to make sure they're protected if one of the big English clubs, because they'll notice what he's doing up here if somebody comes in and makes him an offer.
And they did it with Brendan Rodgers and they got compensation. More on that, more about the second half. Celtic are 3 up and the build up to Rangers against Hearts.
The Go Radio Football Show with the Taxi Centre. Visit their showroom in Darnley, Glasgow to test drive your new taxi.
Let's go!
2:30 Sunday afternoon. Hope you're having a great weekend, everyone. This is Paul Cooney broadcasting from the heart of Glasgow, the new Gorbals in the great city, which the other night was the Dear Green place for the Celtic fans who absolutely loved it. It was the Blue Tune last summer, Craig, wasn't it? I mean, that's the great thing about football. You know, both great clubs, they have their moments. It's been Rangers last season, and it might be again this season. But so far, League Cup went to Celtic, the Premier Sports Cup, and the League. It's going to be fascinating. This is huge this afternoon. If you're just tuning in, Celtic are 3 up at half time, so our minds are turning to, and we can see the pictures there of Alan McGregor arriving at Ibrox. There's Ryan Jack, the manager, a moment or two ago, and he's back, Alfredo Morelos. So, and there he is, Craig, the man we talked about a lot earlier in the week.
Yeah, there he is, Ramsey, and will he start today? I mean, we'll find out a little bit later, but you touch on, I mean, Rangers' success last season, so this season you become the hunted a little bit in terms of the champions. Started off well, but from the restart, Celtic have clawed back huge amount of points. Momentum seems to be with Celtic at the moment. You would have to say that Ange has done a really good job in terms of strengthening that squad. That he's been desperate to try and do. Davey, he come into a club that was in disarray at the start of the season.
Totally.
But in a really good position now.
Yeah, I mean, the turnaround has been spectacular. And, you know, I'm one of those who said, you know, who's this guy, Postecoglou? Who is he? You know, what are his credentials to come and manage a club of Celtic size? Tell you what, he's answered all the questions.
Yeah. I just kind of go back to 2014 World Cup, Davey, and our group was Spain, Holland and Chile.
Wow.
and he just went for it. He just went for it, playing exactly the same way that Celtic are looking to play. He believed in his players. Obviously need to be at a top level in terms of the physicality to be able to cover the grass. Okay, maybe we didn't have the quality of those teams, but Celtic have one of the best, if not the best squads in the league, so he can play that type of football.
And you can see the squad now. He's rotating. He's bringing on James Forrest there, for example, former Player of the Year. And the man who was captaining them a week ago, Nir Bitton.
Yeah, Nir Bitton, Davey, I don't know what your thoughts are on Nir Bitton.
Love him. Yeah, Davey?
I think he's a Rolls Royce of a player.
Yeah.
I'm amazed that there's still a portion of the Celtic support who are not having him.
Yeah,
He's a top player.
I agree. I think he is a top player. I certainly like him as a 6 in front of the back four rather than being part of the back four. The only place he lets himself down is in terms of the sending offs.
Come back to that in a second. Motherwell making changes as well. Van Veen, Carroll and Goss is off. Woolery and the other two that you may have picked up on. I didn't pick up on all day. It was just I was too slow getting to that. They've made a few changes. And for Celtic, Abada is off, and so too
Hattati. That's what we're saying, Paul. You know, he's earned the right already, Ange Postecoglou, to be able to make these changes, rest legs. He'll be thinking Aberdeen already, I imagine. He'll be thinking about the Aberdeen game. This game is more or less won already, and it's a great position to be in, that to have the strength and depth to be able to take off your best players and give them a rest for the second half with Aberdeen in mind.
I think you'll know. I think clearly we'll know. I mean, look, Celtic are not going to lose this match, but if the likes of Jota, Juranovic, and who's the other one? Definitely Jota and Juranovic. If they don't come on, David, then you go, okay, yeah, he's already thinking towards Aberdeen, saving their legs.
Yeah.
Of course. And also the worry about an injury in case you put someone on you didn't really need them. I mean, Juranovic the other night, you could talk about him for the next 5 minutes, couldn't you? The way he played, Davey. I mean, arguably man of the match in the game against Rangers.
I mean, I said the other night, he reminds me of Gary Neville, very similar. Not the biggest, but really quick feet. Fabulous engine to get up and down the pitch. And when he does get into the last third, he's got a final ball as well.
Technically, very, very good.
Yeah.
Very, very, very good. I mean, it's an experienced player. He's an international player. Comes up against top quality, and Ralston is unlucky. But at least Celtic now have discovered that they've also got another fullback in Ralston.
Yeah, I just wonder, I mean, does it not put Anthony Ralston in the Nathan Patterson situation slightly? In that the Anthony Ralston knows that if it's a big game and Andrew's going to pick his strongest team, he's not going to play.
No, but again, you look at the progression from the way that Celtic supporters thought about Ralston, and then this season he's kind of turned that around completely, hasn't it? Mm-hmm. As a player, of course, you want to be able to play and be involved in those games, but at the same time, I think there's an understanding of the pecking order.
Well, that's what I mean, and I'm betting now. If I'm a betting man, I'm betting Juranovic plays at Pittodrie at right back, starts at right back. No matter how well Ralston does here, and that's a problem for Anthony Ralston.
Of course, unless he settles for that and thinks this is where I want to play.
Yeah,
I thought I was going.
Yeah.
I'm now really. He's loved by the fans. Would that be fair?
Yeah, I think so.
I think he is, and he's found his niche.
Yep.
I mean, the danger will be if he doesn't play enough games. But with the intensity, with the injuries they have, that he does need the squad. I'll tell you who was also the other night though, James Forrest. I'm hearing that there's a bit kind of when it doesn't happen for James Forrest, the fans were giving him not so much out and out stick last night, but you know what I'm talking about, David. It's kind of
I don't get it. It's another one I don't. I think that some of the Celtic supporters are far too sore on James Forrest. If you look at the boy's record, I don't have it in front of me. The silverware he's won at Celtic, the goals he scored, the service he's given Celtic. I don't know how many games he's played. I mean, I think I had 300 odd games. Yeah. He's probably near double that.
I was going to say 600 games. I don't know.
Unbelievable.
And only months ago, Cup semi-final against St Johnstone, Celtic were going nowhere. Yeah. They brought him on and he scored the goal.
Yeah, he's a big time player. You know, the success that he's had at the football club. Look, sometimes it gets overlooked when you're current. I think it'll be later on in life where he'll be really appreciated in terms of what he's achieved at the football club.
Rio Foresto or something might get more. You know, if you come from abroad, sometimes what is it? A prophet's not recognised in his own land. As Celtic come forward again, sorry to get biblical there, but that happens sometimes, isn't it? If you're local, they get used to you and they don't give you the respect because that player deserves it, Craig.
Seeing it happen all the time, and especially in football. You know, sometimes that academy product that comes through doesn't necessarily get treated in the same way that a foreign player comes in, and they're treated like as if they've been at the club 10 years. And it's
I think you're dead. I don't know why that is, but you're dead right. Maybe it's a West of Scotland thing, but they always give the foreign players more benefit of the doubt than they would a local boy, and I don't really get that. Our
producer Stuart will go far. He said, there's no more milk. Will I go to the shop? Not at all. And by the way, we all make the tea and the coffee in here. That's how I started, and it worked out not too badly. It's this Paul Cooney in Glasgow on the Go Radio Football Show with Davy Provan and Craig Moore, two of the best in the business, giving us their insight all afternoon to Celtic 3 up against Motherwell, 49 minutes gone. And up next, Rangers against Hearts. Is it time to hit the restart button? Because if you're a Rangers diehard, you'd be saying, well, wait a minute, 1 point in it. Let's Cam accept that Rangers have been off the boil. But this afternoon, an opportunity. Celtic showing the way, 3 goals already.
They've got to find some kind of button, Paul.
Yeah. Is it called Aaron Ramsey?
They've got to react. They've got to go and get 3 points. They've got to find a way to get the supporters behind them early doors, because Hearts will have a game plan.
And just get a win, because Hearts are always difficult to play against. And there is the thing about John Souttar here this afternoon. I mean, you'd play him if you're Hearts, wouldn't you? I mean, he's signed for Rangers, but not for another 3 months.
Yeah, I would have made sure that you'd signed him in that window.
Why didn't they?
Yeah,
I mean, they've got the Nathan Patterson money. They've got good money for Patterson.
I'm only hearing a speculation, but if it's 500,000, just go and pay it. Yeah. Just get your player in.
But you said in here 2 weeks ago you didn't think they would pay, and you were right.
No,
I thought you were wrong, but you were right.
Yeah, because you were shaking your head at me, going, no. But
I know.
But when you think about it, for 500k, if that was get him in. Especially when they struggled in that area. They played Bassi there for 8 or 9 matches. because of the issues with Hollander and Balogun.
Yep. Robbie Nielsen said they tried to get him on the cheap, and they should have paid the money. We talked about it the other night, the Aaron Ramsey. And listen, any neutral would hope. Let's hope that happens for Aaron Ramsey, a wonderful player, a world-class player probably.
Yeah.
But to pay just a little bit more to bring in John Souttar.
But they paid 500 grand for Scott Wright in the same situation
this time last
season,
year,
didn't they?
yeah.
So I don't understand why they wouldn't go for Souttar.
There's a great chance there for Motherwell, and a terrific save by Joe Hart, his first of the afternoon, edge of the box. It's a shot, and he does well to palm it round the post. Terrific save, Davy.
Yeah, really good save. It took a deflection off Carter Vickers down into the ground, and then it came up towards the top corner. Really good effort from Efford. And Joe Hart, the first real time he's been asked the question, and he had all the answers there. Really good save.
Effort came on at half time, Craig, and that was a terrific effort. And he's into, here comes the corner kick high into the box. The sun is there. Hard to believe the sunshine there.
Yeah,
difficult to see.
But you're right. Just when Hart made that save before the corner post, it's seen the sun there, so you can see the back half of the goal there. May play a part, but Celtic end up dealing with the corner in the end.
Is it inevitable that the opposition, no matter who it is, have quite a period of...
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, no, you're right.
Yeah.
They've got to have a spell, because the way that obviously Celtic play, look, it's impossible to play like that for 90 minutes. So that you are going to have a spell, and especially Motherwell, who we touched on at the start, decent home form, they're going to have a spell. It's just whether or not they can get something out of that spell that they have.
Celtic clear the ball eventually. 52 minutes gone. Celtic are leading by 3-0. Leila Bada in 28 minutes. Then a double from Rogic in 31 minutes. That's why I took the news early, Davy, so that we didn't miss it. And then Rogic right on half, because we would have, right on half time, 3-0 to Celtic. We're just chatting also about Rangers getting Hearts this afternoon. There'll be a huge crowd there. In fact, kickoff's just... an hour and 20 minutes away. A 4 o'clock kickoff as Motherwell have another go again, Davy, edge of the box, and just blasted just over. But it's going to be...
It's Efford again, the substitute, who had a really good shot just a few moments ago. Probably, I think, should have tried to get it across the face there. He's got good support in the 6-yard box. He's got a really tight angle, small target from that angle, and he's not got his foot through the middle of the ball, and it's gone well wide.
Another chance there. Motherwell, it's the most we've seen of them so far.
Yeah, and again, like when you're 3-0 down, you know, you I guess you can relax a little bit, if that makes sense. But you know, all Efford can do in terms of he's come on as a substitution there, and within 7-8 minutes he's already had 2 efforts. So that's been positive.
Nottingham Forest will be up against Brendan Rodgers' Leicester City. It's been a tough season so far for Brendan Rodgers, Davy, just at the bottom half of the top half of the Premier League, whereas last year and the year before they were chasing Champions League.
Yeah, I don't think Brendan Rodgers can do any more at Leicester. He's won them the FA Cup, desperately unlucky on 2 occasions not to make the Champions League. They've lost out on the very last day. But I just don't know where he goes with Leicester. I think Brendan will have one eye on his next club now. And I don't think it'd be short of offers given the record he has in the game. Celtic just miss another good chance there. Callum McGregor, he's got a run on his outside. I think it might have been James Forrest who makes the offer on his outside, but he's taken on the shot, and quite rightly so, because he's inside the box. Probably should do better, keep it down, a player of his technical skill, but it's flashed over the bar. Otherwise it's 4 for Celtic.
Yeah, free-flowing move. Again, Rogic involved. Giacomakis down the wire. Ends up falling with McGregor. Who he goes for power, doesn't he, in the end, Davey, rather than looking to pick a spot. And it just keeps on rising. But it was a good opportunity.
It was Efford, Woolery and Tierney who came on for the Steelmen. Van Veen, Jake Carroll and Goss were hooked at half-time. So they've had a decent start to the second half, but 55 minutes gone. Celtic should have made it 4 just a moment or two ago. We'll hear from GVB. He's talking about Rangers, but he said, look, I'm not going to change the way we play.
Well, of course I believe in my way of playing. I mean, it's easy to say now it's working, and in the first 8 games I didn't hear about that. So it's very easy to say it now, but I believe in the system. But we need to make sure we keep doing the things we always did, and those are the basic things. To track back, to make sure you mark your man, to get the aggression. The moments we can go forward, we have to take them. I'm sure if we have those things back or do much better than we did the last couple of games, we'll be fine.
Craig will have the team news in what, half an hour or so. What do you think? Where are the changes you're expecting to see today?
Oh, well, look, I'm expected to see Balogun start the match in the centre of defence.
Yeah, he did
Yeah,
well.
I would
So
think
Davey.
Bassey left back.
I would think
Aaron
so.
Ramsey, Ryan Jack.
Yeah, I think the both of them probably start, and then Morelos will come in as well.
Of course.
So I think there'll be a few changes to this side. It's funny when you hear his interview there. I mean, it's the basics that they lacked against Celtic the other night. You know, in terms of follow-on runners, aggression in terms of the press and all that sort of stuff. The so-called press without the ball from Rangers was non-existent. Non-existent the other night.
You think they bottled it? You think they walked out into that cauldron and bottled it?
Tell you what, it's you get the argument, Davey, where last season the league title was won in front of no fans.
Yeah, that's where I'm coming
You know,
from. Yeah.
and then obviously for maybe a few of those players that are going out into a packed Parkhead and going, wow.
Yeah.
But then there's players that have experienced that type of match and in front of fans as well.
Yeah,
But
and Celtic had 8 players who'd never played an
Newbies.
Old Firm game before.
Newbies, yeah.
8 making their Old Firm debut. And you would have think the experience of the Rangers players would have helped. Anything but.
No, definitely not. And bottled is a big word in terms of going to your rivals and basically not showing up, because the bare minimum in that game that your supporters expect is go out and compete.
Could they have been let down by the directors who took that crazy decision a couple of years ago not to allow the opposition fans in? Craig, I think it's a mistake. I was in the studio with Davey and with Barry, so we could only hear the crowd noise.
Yeah.
I'm told it was one of the loudest ever.
Yeah.
I mean, Ibrox was an absolute cauldron the last time, but nighttime game, under the lights, Celtic starved of success against Rangers for 2.5 years.
Yeah.
I'm told it was unbelievably loud, and they were just all desperate, unified. And Rangers didn't have any fans in. Even the year, just before COVID, they had 800 fans there when they beat Celtic 2-1. I think they've made a major blunder. That's not the way they'll see it. Of course, they'll give you all the excuses, want all their fans, get the fans back in. I know there's a couple of things I'm throwing at you there, but I wonder, could that have affected them?
Yeah, possibly. I mean, again, different characters today as well. You touch on Barry and myself. I mean, to be able to go at times to an away venue, 60,000, and trying to go silence that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Bring it on.
100%. But at the same time, in terms of the product, the spectacle, we want to see the away supporters in there. It's the same when Celtic come to Ibrox. We want to see them get a decent amount of supporters in there, because I think it really makes a great spectacle. And it's great for the players. You feed off it.
Yep. I wonder when that will change, Davey, that they allow it.
There speaks a man who played in front of 109,000 in Iran.
Of course, yeah. Absolutely true. I mean, as Celtic come forward, Maeda, chance for him, but there's been, the referee's pulled them back, and he's pulling out the yellow card. Yeah. See who this is for. 59 minutes gone. Motherwell 0, Celtic 3, and it's Gika Makis. He's had a bit of verbals with the referee earlier on.
Yeah, he's
we'll
not
see this
happy at
again.
all with John Beaton. It was, he's just trying to put a bit of pressure on Giacomakis, as you'd expect. I don't think there's a great deal in that, and I think it's maybe just one too many. John Beaton's, had a word with him on several occasions.
Yeah, because there's nothing. I mean, that's it's a foul, but there's nothing.
I don't get it. You saw the boy Hallberg sent off for St Johnstone yesterday. Nonsense.
Yeah.
Boy, Livy sent off as well.
That's exactly. I was going to ask you about the Hallberg thing.
What
I
is
watched
going
them
on?
back, both of them, yellow cards.
Yeah, I mean the game's gone mad.
Is there no contact anymore?
It seems that's the way the game is going. I don't get a bit of common sense for heaven's sake.
Sure.
Yeah, they're both pretty harsh in the offs, weren't they?
Yep.
Yesterday. And I think the Hallberg, is it Hallberg? It was
It was Hallberg.
couple of shirt tugs, or professional fouls. But I think sometimes I think common sense in terms of just the referee. Listen, son, you're on a yellow card. Like, pull your head in. Like, you don't see that conversation anymore, do you?
What's that phrase? Pull your head in.
Pull your head
Is that
in.
wind your head in? Wind your neck in?
Say, behave yourself. You're on your last warning. You don't have that. The ones that the referees, the best referees for me were the ones that had those conversations with the players.
Yeah. But there's a lack of common sense now. The referees can't get the cards out their pockets quickly enough now. The best referees don't need cards to control the game.
Maeda there has a trip on the Scotland player Stephen O'Donnell, and O'Donnell not happy with the decision. I don't know if it's going to be a throw in.
He's got a very stern look, Maeda, hasn't he? You wouldn't want to mess with him.
Oh no,
you
absolutely.
would not want to mess with him.
Yep.
Proper athlete, though. You can just see the way he's explosive. He runs about all day. He looks strong. And we know he can score goals because he scored plenty last season in Japan.
Indeed, well, as you reminded us, and it took him all of 4 minutes to score his first goal in Scotland against Hibs. Yeah, Hibs. I mean, if we were Radio Edinburgh, they'd be talking about Hearts coming to Rangers this afternoon, and you'd also be saying, I mean, Jack Ross may go down as one of the craziest decisions ever to sack the guy. Listen, it wasn't going well in the league, but then in comes Sean Maloney. A decent start, but they're not playing the way that the Leith, the Edinburgh fans want them. But here's a corner kick to Motherwell. High into the box, a chance, but it falls for Tom Rogic, who's back, clears it out the box. He's bundled off the ball. And
that's what you don't want to see.
Yeah.
Oh, Rogic clutching his knee, Craig, your fellow countryman. Let's see it again, see what happened. Ball on the edge of the box, he's coming out, and he always tripped up. Yeah. Is it the way he's falling, Craig?
Yeah, he gets kind of like his ankle gets clipped there. So I'm hoping that it doesn't look well. He's up and he's running away quite freely there, so he's okay.
McGinley was going down as well. He fell kind of on top of him, but he is fine. Who's coming on, Davey, for Celtic? A double substitution.
Matt O'Reilly and Jota about to come on. So again, Ange Postecoglou, chance to rest some legs ahead of the trip to Pittodrie, and another indication of the strength and depth when you're bringing on two players of that calibre, O'Reilly and Jota. Changed days for Ange Postecoglou now.
And going off, Craig.
Yeah, you can see again. So it's sensible. Jackie Marcus coming off, but Davey, he's got the yellow card there for the foul. So again, I think that's just a smart decision. Bringing the player off. Maida will now push through the middle. Jota goes out wide. Very, very comfortable there, no problem. I'm just seeing who's coming off for O'Reilly.
Yeah, we'll tell you in a second or two.
I'm not sure. It was Callum McGregor that comes off.
No surprise, really.
No, again, like I said, this is a position that Celtic have allowed themselves, that Ange has found himself in because of the first half performance.
They're both easy in the eye, so the girls tell me that Jota and O'Reilly, very popular.
Very popular.
Apparently, yep.
Jota must struggle there.
Oh, indeed, absolutely. As Maeda now comes forward, plays it out to the left to O'Reilly, and he always sees a lot of the ball, doesn't he? A nice flick there, which goes out the play. It's going to be a corner kick for Celtic. 3-0 to Celtic, 63 minutes gone. Craig, predictions are going to be the same as the other night. They'll stick at 3-0, or do you sense another goal coming for the league leaders?
I still think with 30 odd minutes to go, I still think we'll see more goals in this match.
Davey, here we come, left-footed from
outswinging corner. Motherwell get their head in the ball first, get it away, but don't play the ball early enough, Motherwell, to give Celtic a problem. Celtic had put their two centre backs up there. They were a little bit exposed to a counter, but just too many passes from Motherwell. They give it away again, and that's the difference between the two sides. The composure and the ability of players to keep the ball. It sounds easy, but some teams find it harder than others.
64 minutes gone. Celtic are 3 up at Motherwell.
The Go Radio Football Show with thetaxicentre.com. Your exclusive taxi trade savings are waiting on you. Let's go!
Celtic coming forward looking for goal number 4. The 3 up after 66 minutes. Motherwell 0, Celtic 3. I'm going to give you the Rangers some team news in a second or two. Ball's going out of play. So Davey, you've had an early insight into what's going to happen for Rangers.
Aaron Ramsey on the bench, Paul. We weren't quite sure whether he was ready to start. He's on the bench. Ryan Jack starts for Rangers, and Alfredo Morelos is back as well. Full team news coming up.
Alfredo Morelos is back, Ryan Jack as well, and Aaron Ramsey, the former Arsenal and Juventus star. 400 grand a week he was paid over there. Takes you back, Craig, doesn't it, to your great days? But he's on the bench this afternoon.
Yeah, but again, I would love to see him start. He's on the bench. Like it says here, the rest of the starting 11.
Chance there for Celtic, Craig. Sorry,
was it a potential penalty claim, was it, or was it a chance?
Just I looked up just as it was cleared. I don't think it's a penalty here. We see Craig the replay.
James Forrest, I think, gets into the 6-yard box, gets a really good downward header, and Kelly, not for the first time today, has to use his feet. It's a really good save.
He needs to use gloves on his feet. He's made 3 saves with his feet this game. But Forrest, again, he took the position, that winger, but taken in a striker's position again.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter who's playing, they take up the same positions.
We'll give you the full Rangers and Hearts lineups in just a moment or two. But there you are, the headlines. Aaron Ramsey is on the bench this afternoon. I think, Craig, that Rangers fans would love to have seen him on from the beginning. It might be, I mean, if he's not ready, he's not ready. But just as a sort of signal. But you can't take a chance, can you?
No, you can't. But you're right. Like sometimes in terms of the fans getting that lift before the game, that excitement. You know, when you're already coming out. I've got the starting 11 here.
Right, go for it. Yeah. First news.
Yeah. So we got McGregor in goals, Tavernier, Goldson, Balogun, Bassi, Jack, Lundstrom, Aribo, Arfield, Kent, Morelos. Subs, McLaughlin, Barisic, Davis, Ramsey, as we've touched on the bench, Kamara, who was taken off at half-time.
Diallo?
Sands, Diallo, Roof, Fashion Sakala.
Right, Stuart's going to bring us these. Well, Davey, are you taking that in there? The Rangers. Hearts have got 2 changes. Tell you in a second or two.
Well, the headline is Barisic is bombed. Disastrous first half the other night, and he's paying the price today. No real surprise there that Balogun in at centre back, Bassi to left back. Ryan Jack, who did really well when he came on, starts. No surprise there either. Morelos back in. And I'm sure we'll see Aaron Ramsey at some point in the game.
Rangers, McGregor, Tavernier, Goldson, Balogun and Bassi, as you mentioned. Jack, Lundstrom, Aribo, Arfield, Kent and Morelos. Not often you see Lundstrom starting. Hearts with Gordon in goals, of course, the captain. Kingsley, Baningame, McAneff, who's back in, Boyce, this is not information obviously, Atkinson, Devlin, Moore, Cochrane back in the side, Mackay and Sibic as Celtic come forward. Jota, but it doesn't get around the defender. So that's the Rangers Hearts lineups. Craig, quite a few changes, but David, can you just have a look at this, the replay of Celtic? They're claiming offside there.
Yeah, they are. I mean, it's a tough one. I mean, that's why we need VAR.
Yeah.
These hairline decisions. It's Jota. He's taking a heavy touch in any case, but for heaven's sake, we need VAR. And by the way, it's going to take months to train our referees to how to operate VAR.
Big expense as well.
Well, I mean, you're either a serious league or you're not. If they've got it in Malta, for heaven's sake, if they can afford it in Malta, surely we can afford it.
Really?
Well, loads of. I mean, some of the real outposts have all got VAR. If we want to be taken seriously, we've got to get it here.
We really need change here. You know, there needs to be strong leadership. For example, the club should be told you must give a proportion of your tickets to away fans. Yep, Hearts are starting to do it now with 1,000 tickets. So Rangers, Celtic, everyone should be told here's a percentage of Celtic come forward. Maeda, a chance. Is it going to fall? And it is. Maeda for Celtic came off a defender, but he will be claiming it. 71 minutes gone. The scoreline: Motherwell 0, Celtic 4.
Nobody deserves it more than this fella who's had nothing to show for his efforts. He really has put himself about again today, Maeda. Comes in off the right hand side. Goalkeeper come out into his face. I think the defender gets something on it. Spun up into the air. Looked as if it was going over the bar, but it's dropped under the crossbar. And a well-earned goal for Maeda.
A very positive run again. He's testing them defensively. Comes inside. Kind of like a block tackle in the end.
Yeah, it's Mugabe who
gets something on.
The shot's on target, so he'll get the goal, I think. I don't think it'll count as an OG.
Oh, no, definitely not, like I says, but it doesn't matter how they go in. He's tested them and he get a little bit of luck, but at the same time, put himself in a position to get that, like 4-0. And again, it's been very comfortable. Celtic have been able to make their substitutions as well. Good day's work for sure.
It's the kind of scoreline that you mentioned at half-time. Celtic want to go for 5 or 6, and it's possible. There's only 71.5 minutes gone. That's his second goal in his games for Celtic and Maeda.
I just know what I was like, Paul, as a player. It's like go and really make a statement, in terms of on the back of a really good result. If you can go and score 5, 6, 7, then all of a sudden, it's like, oof, they're absolutely flying, and you start to get scared of that team.
Rangers fans, you're 1 hour away from kick-off, so Celtic will go in 4 points clear at the top of the table. This is a must-win for the champions this afternoon, and he's made the changes as Celtic come forward looking for goal number 5, and Maeda, David, just over the top.
Can't keep it down. He's on the stretch. Jota's played in a really good early ball, loads of bend on it, takes the centre back out the game. Maeda really on the stretch here. Oh, I'll tell you what, looking at it again, he should probably do better. He's opened his foot on it. He's just trying to take a little bit of pace off the ball, actually. Loads of pace on the ball in. And he should be getting that down onto the target.
that's a typical pattern of players as well. You know, the way that they work in the wide areas. Jota, I think, is a Jota that plays the ball. He doesn't even need to look. He just plays it in an area. And you're right, Maeda actually should do better there.
The changes from Giovanni Van Bronckhorst. He's not hanging about. He's brought in Balogun, Jack, Lundstrom and Morelos out. Bombed out, as you mentioned, Davey. There's Barisic, Kamara, Diallo and Roof.
Yep. Look, delighted to see Jack come in, if I'm honest, because I think he's one of a kind in terms of the way that he plays. Lundstrom, you know, hopefully he's going to give legs, because I think it's energy, it's legs, it's that bite that's going to be needed today. Morelos comes in. Look, obviously he was a miss and goes away with the international team, which is not his fault, and is not involved in any of the matches. So hopefully he comes back to scoring. Balogun, like I said, is pleased to see him come back in.
And he did well, didn't he? You know, he improved things for Rangers in the second half.
Again, I kind of, like I said, the second half for me was kind of done and dusted. But you're right, he come in. Look, he actually surprised me. There was a race in the second half between Maeda, who's very, very quick, and Balogun matched that for pace. And I thought, okay. And Balogun just needs that run of games now. But I think that Bassi, much happier, Paul, to see him at left full back. I think he helped the club out in a tough time in the centre half. There weren't any available, but I think he's had his spell in there.
Just to be clear, Craig, your old team, you think they are going to win this afternoon?
I do. Yeah. I do. And if they don't, I'll tell you what, the headlines and the criticism and the pressure will be enormous.
Yeah, but for the Rangers fans heading there just now, Craig Moore, you reckon?
I'm saying,
if you were putting your house on it.
I think, look, again, I'm like every Rangers supporter that will be going to that game, hoping that they start the game well, that you have that opportunity to really get in and support your team. But you want to see that early goal. You want to see that, certainly the energy and the competitive nature there from the first second. Hearts
making two changes. McInnes and Cochrane are in. And Andy Halliday not getting a start, certainly, but back at his old.
A few goals recently,
hasn't he, as Andy? And Sims as well. Davey, back in Lanarkshire, 75 minutes gone. The story so far?
Well, Celtic have just, they had the job done by half time. Maeda, as I said, got a really well earned goal. I love the boys' attitude. Celtic 4-0 up. They managed to drip feed some substitutions, managed to rest some legs ahead of Pataudry. And if Celtic can avoid any injury here, it's been a really good day's work. And I think it's always a worry coming off the back of an Old Firm game. There might be a sense of anticlimax, a little bit of the after the Lord Mayor show about it, but Celtic have gone about it in exactly the right way.
Yeah, it's a perfect day's business formula. You know, you go away to a tough ground, so you know you're going to have a tough match. To go ahead 3-0 at half time, to win the game quite comfortable, Davey, to use your substitutes, to really sort of like now have one eye on the game that lies next against Aberdeen. It's a perfect day for Celtic, really.
I was at my grandson's football yesterday morning, Davey, early. 4-0 win for Blantyre against Villa. It was a tough game, actually.
Against Villa, did you say?
Yeah, it was a Villa team. Yeah, not Aston Villa. It's, I think, a local Villa. It was great to see them under 14. So it's 2008, they call them. It goes by the year.
Is it grass pitch? Or?
No, synthetic. It was good pitch.
Right,
Glade Valley High School, really good.
Right.
Actually, both really well coached the teams. There's none of that nonsense. It was good stuff. Yeah. But there's chat with the dads and the mums about...
You weren't shouting and bawling?
Not at all. No, I'm not doing a Chick. Remember Chick was doing that? Chick Young. Hi, Chick. I know he listens when he can. Because I mean, you can only take so much of radio shortbread. But no, they were chatting about the other night, and the Rangers fans were saying, yeah, but wait till you see the game with Hearts. And they were saying that Celtic could struggle at Motherwell, but the 4 up, and it could be goal number 5. It's Jota. And Davey just missed out there. That should have been the 5th.
It should have been. He's come off the left hand side. It's a good ball inside the Motherwell's right back. Jota's too quick for him. He opens the target up for himself twice until he's in the middle of the 6-yard box. And I'm not sure who got the block on it, but somebody got a block on it to prevent a 5th goal. But this is exhibition now from Celtic. Exhibition stuff.
Every time they go forward again now. Motherwell had that little spell, didn't they, the start of the second half?
Yeah, gone now.
It's absolutely gone now. And all of a sudden Celtic are back on it again. And every time they go forward, they look as if they can score.
But it's amazing the way people have been speaking about it, Davey. That's the thing. You know, Rangers fans not happy this week, but a long way to go. And Celtic fans who've been out of it last season, 25 points, re-engaged in it. And there was real chat about it yesterday morning. And I'll tell you, it was wet and wild yesterday. The sleet, everything. It was brilliant. But and I know boys and girls are playing right up and down the country, and it's great to see people out again. Great to see them at the football and seeing them there. And opposition fans should be in. We should have sponsors for VAR. VAR must come back in. We need to challenge the officials, the people at the top of the game, who are on good money, David. I don't mind that as long as they're doing something.
There are quite a lot of things I think we can do to improve the game. I would also ban plastic pitches, and I get it for the kids. It's a great learning surface, but again, if we want to be taken seriously, we need to play on grass.
For sure. As Celtic come forward on the grass at Motherwell, it's Jota, the Portuguese star, outside the box. He looks up, he sees Tom Rogic, who's there, and he plays it just wide of the post.
I got a small question, and it's back. You're talking about improvements of the game, for example, and Arbroath and Dick Campbell, amazing job, amazing job. What he's done. If they win the championship and they become a premiership team, do they have to be full time then?
No. I don't know. I don't think there are any stadium requirements now. It used to be you had to have 10,000 seats.
Yep.
I don't think that applies now.
I think it's gone because some of them are. Because remember, was it Falkirk missed out one year because they were?
Yes.
This is about 15 years ago. Well, you'd have been playing.
But my question really is, if Arbroath,
they don't have to go full time.
But surely they would.
They should have to.
Surely
is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But that was just a question. It was just a question.
But it's a good question because, well, you always invest, don't you, when you come up to the top
and
league?
Dick Campbell would love that, wouldn't he?
Yeah, of course.
If our both said we're going to turn full time, we're going to have a lot more revenue, a lot more investment, we can afford to go full time. I mean, Dick spent most of his career with Bert Payton at Dunfermline full time.
Yeah.
Had a right good side there. Yeah, I'm sure he would love it. Love the chance.
Because then, like you see, talk about VAR, that comes at an expense. The training, lots of stuff. The full-time referees then come on board, Davey, as well.
Another good shout. Yeah.
You know, so there are a few big calls in terms of, I think, improving the game.
Mm-hmm. I'm not sure that full-time referees makes it all right, because sometimes you get really good calibre of person who's got another job as well. But it's Celtic now coming forward. Is that Tony Ralston who plays it out to the left to Jota? 79 minutes gone, edge of the box, he looks up, plays it in. It's a poor ball though, but it's a corner kick. Mugabe turns it around. Davey, there's
chance for Anthony Ralston to score there. He's overhit the ball out to Jota. He sent Jota wider than the winger wanted to be, but he should find a better ball because Tony Ralston's completely unmarked in the 6-yard box had he found him. And I think Celtic about to make another change.
Greg Taylor, the ex-Kilmarnock and Scotland fullback. I know he gets a bit of stick, doesn't he? And guess who's coming on for him, Davey?
It's Josip Juranovic, many people's man of the match the other evening, and with justification, I think. What a game he had. And on he comes for the last 11 minutes or so.
Craig, not bad.
10-15 minute cameo for him, eh?
Yep, sure.
Yeah.
Go in there.
It's a strange one.
Yeah.
Last 11 minutes, I don't get that. I mean, unless Greg Taylor's
maybe pulled up a little bit tight, yeah. Don't want to take, especially when you're 4-0 up, you don't want to take any chances on any of your players. So you would only think that.
And goal difference. It could come down to goal difference. Wouldn't that be amazing this season? The Go Radio Football Show with the Taxi Centre would be motoring on this one right till the last kick of the ball this season. You'll miss none of the action as we hit 3:08 Sunday afternoon, coming from the heart of Glasgow. Thanks for everyone who's made the switch. We're on tomorrow night from 5 with Barry Ferguson and Mark Guidi, and Davey will be back during the week. So too will Craig. Yep, we've got the letters, but no, we're having you both. That's an old gag that was uncalled for whatsoever. Nobody writes a letter anyway. Thank you for all the emails. And actually the socials have gone off the scale. The downloads are well over 1.3 million for the programme, and YouTube are in the millions now. People tuning in, not least your content the other night when you said Rangers should get Scottish assistant inside. Maybe Barry Ferguson, maybe Neil McCann, or possibly Kevin Thompson. But David, do you think that would make a difference? I know we touched on it on Friday night.
I think sometimes it does, and I can think the perfect situation, half time at Celtic Park the other night, where a Scottish voice might have had a bit of an impact.
Yeah, I'm kind of thinking like in terms of, I'm not saying someone that's influential in team selection and all those kind of things, right? You're talking about a second assistant coach, but someone that understands what it takes to be a success at the football club. So the culture, the values, the demands.
Former Rangers player.
Yeah, it has to be. It has to be, David. And then also you have it's actually for me a great link to the manager, because you can never have enough people that know the inside of your club and knows what it means to the supporter base. You can never have enough of them.
Strange one that Ange Postecoglou, though, hasn't brought in anyone at all in his coaching staff, isn't it?
Yeah, but again, so that was a question that a lot of people were asking at the beginning. He's got to bring in his own people because they didn't have the greatest start. He's got to bring in his own coaches. He's got to do this. He's got to do that.
Yep.
He just come in and had a look. Excuse me, had a look. Yep. And as long as he got the buy-in that he received from all of his coaches, and the belief that they can carry out the job that he wants them to do, he felt that you're better off having that culture, that DNA, the people that know your football club.
I'm told though, Craig, that he doesn't share everything with his coaching staff. He's very much his own man.
Very much so.
It's not run by consensus. It's his way or the highway.
It's his way, and he'll have his coaches walking on eggshells, as he will his players.
Yeah.
I think it was maybe one show we were doing, Dave, and you were saying, like, surely he would have told Ralston he's not playing. I says, no. He definitely, he definitely won't. He doesn't communicate like that. You know, he just sets the standards. He sets a tempo. He sets a culture. But everyone's on eggshells.
On eggshells there is Bevis Mugabe. He's just been yellow carded. Maeda was through in goals, Davy, and that's going to be a free kick to Celtic. They're 4 up after 83 minutes.
Yeah, I just wonder who'll fancy this. 2 or 3 might fancy this. It's inside right position, about 23, 24 yards out. Motherwell have got 4 on the wall. Kelly's gone right of centre. So the obvious one here is over the top of the wall into the right hand side of the goal. Can they find the technique? That's the only question.
So standing over the ball,
Matt O'Reilly.
I've not seen O'Reilly hit something like that.
Right.
We've obviously seen Juranovic, and they're the two that are.
Oh, and it was Juranovic, but it's just a foot wide of the post. It's the kind of game, Davey, you must love to play in. 4-0 with 6 minutes remaining, and you're still going for goal number 5.
Terrific technique as well. You know, gets up over the last man on the wall on the right hand side of the wall, and it's bending viciously, and it finishes. Well, it takes the paint off the outside of the left hand post.
Thanks to everyone who's sending in the messages on the socials this afternoon. Most of you think that, Celtic are going to win, obviously, and Rangers too. That's the messages coming in from the Rangers fans heading to Ibrox this afternoon. And the headlines, Aaron Ramsey, you may well see him at some point, but not from the start. Rangers are starting with McGregor, Tavernier, Goldson, Balogun and Bassey, as many of you hoped would happen. Jack Lundstrom is back in, and Aribo, Arfield, and up front, Kent and Morelos. Many people think that Arfield, I was going to say, is it an upgrade? That would be unfair. Arfield is much loved by the Rangers fans, and he's done well for them. Yeah. But similarities with Aaron Ramsey in the style.
The type of play. You're spot on. You're spot on. I mean, look, I don't think for one minute Arfield's saying I'm as good as Ramsey, but they're different. Different. They're very similar in terms of their profile. Late runs into the box. Arfield's goal against Livingston was fantastic. That's what Ramsey's career has been all about. So you could say it's a strange signing because you've already got that type of player.
Yep. Davey?
Yeah, I mean, the irony is I remember Scott Arfield when he was at Falkirk, and Scott Arfield was linked with a move to Arsenal. And everybody's like, wow, what a move that would be for him. But, you know, even in his Falkirk days, he's an absolute standout. And it's no surprise for me, really, that he's ended up playing at the top level in England and doing really well. Just a little bit surprised that Scotland never picked him and allowed Canada to cap him.
Yeah.
He'd have done Scotland a real good turn as well.
David, the thing you both mentioned to watch out for is any injuries now for Celtic, and Jota has just gone down, and Liam Donnelly was kind of late there and he's been yellow carded. Yeah,
it was a late one. Thankfully for Celtic, Jota's back on his feet. He looks all right, but it could have been a lot worse. Donnelly is well late there with a challenge.
Yeah, and he again, frustration, but thankfully Jota's clever enough as well to ride that challenge, but it was definitely a yellow card. You could just see the frustration from Donnelly, who's had a hard afternoon, Davey, I've got to say, in the middle of the park.
Frustration. I'm sure you were in that movie a couple of times, Craig, where you're losing a game and you think, I'm just going to have somebody here. No comment.
Never.
4 minutes plus stoppages. There have been quite a number of substitutions, but Celtic still, they play the ball back. Carter Vickers back to Joe Hart, 2 of the terrific signings by the manager since he came in. Of course, Carter Vickers, will he come permanently? Because it could be Champions League football next year. He's not going to get that at Tottenham. Could he get into the Tottenham side?
Tottenham, again, you look at the situation at Tottenham and in terms of the transfer market, that's a basket case as well. So,
it is, yeah.
Maybe the opportunity.
Oh, yep.
It'd be big money though, won't it? It's just whether or not then that Celtic would feel.
Yeah, it'll be in top money.
He will.
I think the average wage down there is about 60 grand a week, isn't it?
Yeah.
Incredible. So, but enough about your Crystal Palace days. Yeah.
Mate, I wish.
And Borussia Mönchengladbach. Yeah.
I remember when I was at Gladbach, we were a struggling club, fighting relegation.
Were you? Yeah.
Different club. They were a different club in the 70s, Davey, I believe.
Celtic come forward looking for goal number 5, and it should be, but it's saved well there by the goalkeeper. That was a real chance there.
From Rogic and a hat trick. What a chance.
Has he scored a hat trick before?
I wouldn't
Rogic?
imagine so, but
There he is. That should have been his goal. Number 3 for him. Celtic are 4 up just now. James Forrest involved. Maeda plays it into the box. There's bags of space. Left-footed. But what should he have done?
No,
Quick chip
nothing.
to
I'm just
keeper,
thinking
maybe?
that we're talking about, again, resting players and they've had the luxury to do that today. But you look at Maeda, who's just come back from international duty, as has Tommy Rogic, and they're both still on the pitch, and they're the ones that both combined there, Davey, in nearly the 88th minute.
well, it's just good to see Rogic going 90 minutes. I mean, for so often he was taken off after 60 minutes, and we wondered, why can this guy not go 90 minutes?
Whose fault was that? Who created that? Was that Brendan Rodgers that used to bring him off after 60 minutes all the time?
Not quite
Good
sure.
point. Yeah. My memory would say probably yes, but here is Jota looking for goal number 5, plays it in for Maeda, but it goes all the way back to the keeper. I'm not sure. I mean, in fact, throughout his career at Celtic, he rarely played the 90 minutes. But everyone remembers what he did in the Cup final 2017, the first of the trebles, against Aberdeen.
Yeah.
Celtic were, I mean, they looked to have been running out of puff. They'd won the League Cup, they'd won the league, but then it was Rogic who
Yeah, I think
scored
even
the goal.
under Ronnie Dyler,
I think so,
It was used to
Yeah.
take him off
right.
after 60
Yeah.
minutes, and I think we've all been wondering why. He's not gone the distance, but he's certainly gone the distance today.
Certainly has. 89 minutes have gone. We'll just turn to Rangers very shortly for Rangers against Hearts this afternoon at Ibrox, and it's a game that they have to win. Craig,
It's a great game that they have to win, and I tell you what, and again, I know he's a young player, right? But he can't do any more than what he did do. The boy Alex Lowry that come in and it was absolutely brilliant, Davey, in a couple of games, right? And then I thought maybe he would be involved and play against Ross County and then be left out of the Old Firm match. But I'm not seeing him there, and I'm thinking, you know what? That's a little bit unlucky for the young lad. He's actually come in, done really, really well, and then
Because he got his debut against Stirling Albion, and then he kept his place.
scored
didn't he?
against Stirling Albion.
Yeah.
here's Rogic, plays it into James Forrest, edge of the box. Celtic are 4 up still. James Forrest plays it back to O'Reilly, back to Forrest. You can sense he would love to get the goal here this afternoon. Jota, 90 minutes have just about come and gone. It's Jota playing it back midway inside the Motherwell half to Juranovic, back to Starfelt, across the halfway line to Carter Vickers. Great conversation with you two there. I thought that was just going to be a goal. They started to jump in.
They're just playing about, aren't they?
Yeah.
Celtic had just worked from one side to the other. Now they've got an overload. Bitton's in.
Corner kick.
Corner kick.
So Captain Stephen O'Donnell is along. Oh, in fact, the ball stayed in
Stayed
play.
alive, the wind, the wind. The wind kept it in.
You're right. Yep. I'll put that the Davy Provan end there. 6 foot. If you're just tuning in, there is about 6 foot of a difference. There certainly was. I think it's levelled up a bit than what it
and
was.
I used to play against a guy called Joe Wark.
Oh,
who
Joe,
had
wow, legend.
telescopic
Yep.
legs. You'd think you were past them, Craig, and this big, the leg would extend. He'd come from nowhere and managed to get a challenger.
Played for many years, an absolute legend at the club.
Oh, he
wasn't
is,
he?
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I think he's the all-time record holder in terms of appearances, Joe Wark. Or he'll certainly be pretty close to it.
2 minutes added time, so there's a minute 20 seconds to go. It's been quite an afternoon for Celtic. As we see there, the manager, your fellow countryman, the Greek Australian Ange Postecoglou.
Do you think he ever loses his temper, Craig? Is he capable of losing it and having a rant? Yeah.
Yeah, but yes, I don't want to say lose his temper. I guess kind of more comes across as a passionate plea to want more. Doesn't really lose the head, but will raise a voice.
Yeah.
If he drops you, though, he just drops you, doesn't he? He doesn't come and put the arm around and say, listen.
They don't expect him to come knocking on your door and give you an explanation. It's just back to business, and he'll always try and do what he thinks is best for the team. But he certainly doesn't have a lot of explanations for people, whether it be player or coach.
Celtic coming forward, maybe the last run down the right for Tony Ralston, looks up, plays it into the box. Mugabe clears it only as far as Matt O'Reilly. O'Reilly plays it out to Jota, just inside the Motherwell box. Jota back heel to Juranovic, ball into the box, but it's going to be cleared. And that could have been the last chance of the game, but it's fallen again to Jota, so it's Celtic again down the left. As gets past 2, 3, 4 players, and he's won the corner kick, Craig.
Yeah, great run. I mean, he's breezed in and out of 3 or 4 players there. In the end, Motherwell do stop him. Corner, I'm not even sure whether Celtic will get to take the corner here. We're into 92 minutes plus, but very good afternoon for Celtic.
They take the short one. You're right. That's it. It's all over. There's Graham Alexander about to shake hands with Ange Postecoglou. Full-time score and the top of the table. Celtic are now on 60 points after 25 games. And up next, it's Rangers on 56 points against Hearts. That's next.
The Go Radio Football Show with the Taxi Centre. Visit their showroom in Darnley, Glasgow to test drive your new taxi.
Let's go! Where do taxi drivers go when they need to buy a taxi? Well, the Taxi Centre have supplied cars to the trade for over 20 years, and they stock a huge range of motors from the world's leading manufacturers: Skoda, Kia, Toyota, Mercedes, Nissan, Ford, Hyundai, you name it. They've got saloons, MPVs, estates, minibuses, prestige cars, the lot, all under one roof, ready for immediate collection or free delivery anywhere on the mainland UK. With taxi trade exclusive discounts, flexible finance options and no hidden fees. They even throw in registration and 12 months road tax. So if you're a taxi driver who needs a new or used taxi, where would you go? TheTaxiCentre.com. Trade only.